নমস্কার বন্ধুরা, ইন্ডিয়ান ফুড এন্ড ফুটবলের নতুন এপিসোডে সবাইকে স্বাগত। আর আজকে আমাদের মধ্যে এমন গেস্ট আছে, মানে আমরা সবাই ওনাকে চিনি সাংবাদিক হিসেবে, অ্যাজ এন রিপোর্টার। উনি অনেক দিন ধরে স্পোর্টস রিপোর্টিং করেছেন, জার্নালিজমে অনেক দিন ধরে ওনার সাথে যোগাযোগ আছে। তো আজকে আমার সাথে জয়েন করছে মিস্টার সন্দীপ মেনন। আই থিঙ্ক সবাই জানেন, তাও একবার ইন্ট্রোডিউস করে দিচ্ছি। আর আজকে যে টপিকটা আপনি জানেন, কার্লোস কোয়াড্রাটের ব্যাপারে আমরা কি কি জানতে পারি, সো সেটা নিয়ে সন্দীপ আজকে আমাদেরকে আলোকপাত করবেন। সো আই থিঙ্ক সন্দীপ, Bengali will take it in English only, but this is the welcome speech in Bengali we had to give. So welcome to the channel, Sandeep, and hope we have a great show. And share. Firstly, Sandeep, welcome to the show, and thank you again to be a part of Indian football show, food and football show. So Sandeep, तो आज का टॉपिक आपको पता है, you know the topic which we will be discussing. So before we go to the topic, firstly a brief about you to the Bengali audience here.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. This is a pleasure. So my name is Sandeep. I've been covering football, rather Indian sports, for 10 years. I've worked across Deccan Chronicle, Times of India, Deccan Herald. I've been doing Injury Time Football Podcasts, which is a podcast on Indian football since 2016 as well. I don't think we have done a great job in promoting it, but I'm happy to say whoever listens to it is quite happy with what the content that we're producing. So it's been a lot of fun. Right now, I'm doing a little bit of freelance and focusing on a few other projects on the side as well. But that's about me. I'm from Bangalore also. I've been covering sports 10 years in Bangalore.
Okay. So Sandeep, before we start, actually, I want to ask you a few questions. That
Sure.
today's topic is how is Cuadrat. You have seen Carlos Cuadrat very closely in Bengaluru FC, and
Yes.
you have been covering Bengaluru FC for a long time now. So when you heard first the news when Sergio Lobera didn't came to East Bengal and Carlos Cuadrat was officiated by that Carlos Cuadrat is coming, was your first reaction?
Well, when Lobera, the whole fascination for East Bengal for Sergio Lobera is something I did not understand, because Lobera is a coach who needs his players expensively put together for him to play the kind of football that he wants to play. You've seen that in Goa. He had Corominas, he had Lanzarote for a while, he had Edu, and also some top players in India, Brandon, and all of them. You also saw the same thing in Mumbai when most of this Ahmad Jahu and Murtada Fall, all of them followed him. That they followed him again. Even Lenny has joined Odisha now. So unless you're willing to put in that kind of money into creating a team to play the style of football, the Lobera ball is not easy. So for East Bengal, I think, considering their position being where they are, considering the money that they have spent in the last few years and how their transfer business has gone, not really the most uh, what do you call tactically or shrewdly put together team a lot of the time. So for this, I think in that sense, Carles is a much better choice for Bangalore FC for sure.
So, what comes? People are asking has a lot of expectation out of Carl Squadrat, and in East Bengal, in Kolkata, if you are here, people are asking many things. That you have closely monitored Carl Squadrat, how he's taking up this role, because it will be quite challenging for him. Because if you see East Bengal's history for the latest few years, that coaches have always been under a lot of scanner. So one thing which is coming in my mind is the pressure. The pressure in Bengaluru FC and pressure in Kolkata will be a bit different in that ways. So, do you think he will be able to handle this and move forward with his plan and everything, his execution?
So that is something that we have to see, because look, Carles has experience coaching in Barcelona, coaching in Galatasaray. So he has been in a situation which are pressure cookers. But most of these are as assistant coaches and second assistant and stuff like that, right? So he's not been the one in the firing line, although I'm sure he's aware of the pressure that there's there in these kind of massive clubs, especially a team like Galatasaray, hugely rabid and fanatic fan base. I think East Bengal, in the same sense, have a extremely passionate fan base, and the media is also, unlike in Bangalore, they're not the most forgiving. Let's say we've seen over the years that when Bangalore has not done well, the Bangalore media has not gone too harsh on them. The Bangalore fans have actually not gone too harsh on them. So he's only used to this in Indian football. So for him, it is going to be a massive change. A lot depends on how he's able to handle expectations. So one thing about Carles is the first year that he took over as head coach, when Roca left, he had a very strong team with Miku and all the best players from. They had retained the whole squad, almost the whole squad, and he went on to win the title. From the very next year, he would, before the season starts, make some comments like, this team is not as good. Our replacement for Miku, I wanted to keep Miku, but we couldn't keep him because of financial issues. We are paying too much, so we couldn't do that. And in the last season, where ahead of the bubble, he did talk about cycles in team success, how Bangalore has enjoyed so much success over the years, but it doesn't last forever. Because for me, it felt like he was foreshadowing that there is a need for for the fans and for all of us to understand that this team is getting older. This team is maybe not as strong as it was. Some big players are leaving, or some big characters. So all this, so he will, when you go for the press conference, you can keep an eye out. He will throw in certain comments which can be considered as, okay, he's trying to manage expectations. And at the situation he's walking into at East Bengal is not the most ideal, right? It's a team
Correct.
that has struggled, honestly struggled for the last 2 years. Since coming to the ISL, there is ownership issues, money flow issues. Player signings have been not the best. Coaches have been, coming and going, not really fixated on, a long-term plan is not visible. So he's coming into the situation also now, as we saw a couple of days ago, that the East Bengal owners are going around trying to raise money from the fans, and I don't
Mhm.
understand why any fans should pay any more than what they're already paying. Like, I'm sure people listening right now, a lot of them would have bought the jerseys, would have bought the match tickets, would have bought the scarves, would have bought whatever else that they have in to buy from East Bengal. So you have given a lot of your money to that club. Now to ask even more money, and there are people who have paid sums that are mind boggling to me for
Yes.
this club. So that is the passion that he's walking into. But at the same time, that is also the situation that he's walking into, where the club is trying to crowdsource money and crowdfund their project. And I don't like it. Okay, crowdfund if you give the fans a share, like in German Bundesliga model type, 49% for the fans, 51% for you, something like that. But I don't know. The situation in East Bengal's highest level, personally, from a distance and from what I've heard from the conversations I've had, is not the best. I'm sure you can speak about it a lot more clearer than me. But
Mhm.
unless they fix that, to expect a lot out of Carles would be, maybe asking too much. Maybe top, just mid-table. Maybe he can challenge for the top six. But honestly, I don't think any silverware is a possibility. But you never know. Set piece specialist. You might, if defensively minded Spanish coach, might
Mhm.
nick a few wins here and there. Who knows? Maybe a Federation Cup or sorry, Super Cup or a Duran Cup. Maybe. But ISL title, I don't think so.
Sandeep, this you have discussed about the crowdfunding and all that we will discuss later. One other thing which you touched upon is Carlos Quadrats. So basically, you have seen him very closely. So how do you think of him as a person? How he is he? And Kolkata people are very passionate. They are very vocal. Huh? You remember Stephen Constantine had a very tough time here. A previous national coach was the last coach of us, and he was in our interview. He gave interview to me last season after the season was over. He had many issues here, and offline also we discussed many things. So, do you think this pressure will? Is he the person who will take this pressure, or is it somebody who can get the pressure button on and he ignores things? What kind of person he is basically?
So he's actually a much more relaxed person than people think. If you see him on the sidelines, he's always shouting and screaming and asking the referee to make some calls or this and that. But from within the club, when he's on a day to day with the players, he's a lot more relaxed. He's friendly. He's also someone, at least in Bangalore setup, was willing to help out in other spheres also. Like, he would ask about the youth team, soccer schools, How are they doing? How's everything happening? How is the academy functioning? Do you need anything from me as a head coach? Any something, maybe a video if they want to do whatever. He's always willing to do that extra mile to for the club within the system. So in that way, he's a very affable guy. But I'm sure whatever level of calm that he is to go into that pressure cooker of a Kolkata team, he is going to feel it. There is no doubt about the fact that he is going to feel it. But at least I don't think he will have the kind of reaction that say Robbie Fowler had, or
Oh,
when you just lose your mind at some
yes, yes.
press conferences and stuff like that. I don't think he'll have that. But at the same time, Robbie came into a situation where he did not know what he was getting into. You have to give him that. Carles, at least having worked 5 6 years in India, knows how Indian football works, and maybe to an extent knows how East Bengal also works more than what we probably think he knows. He will definitely have spoken to insiders. One good thing for him is he's bringing Dimas Delgado along. Dimas was his right hand man. Dimas is also very intelligent football brain. He used to be a player coach in some sense when he was in Bangalore. The later part of his career, he used to help in training sessions or have long discussions with Carles, which I have personally seen them talk about positioning and before big games. So that will help. And but the Indian assistant is going to be equally important there. I know you've had a few Indian assistants come and go over the last 3 years, but I think if you can, that relationship has to be clear with the Indian assistant and him, because he leaned heavily on Naushad Musa when he was here, and I'm sure he'll do the same there also. It's Bino George, no? There,
Yeah, Bino George. Yes, yes.
yeah.
Right, right. So I think Sandeep, one question Piyush has called. He's one of our subscriber. He has give a question. He says, "Hi Shanda, please ask Sandeep brother, what is the playing side of Cuadrat sir? Is he like attacking minded like Lobera, or defensive like Habas, or according to the match situation he makes strategies?" His question is that means, is he a person who is with defensive minded, or is somebody who is very attacking, or somebody who goes game by game and makes strategy accordingly?
I think so. He would. There is a certain kind of football I'm sure he would like to play, but he is someone we've over this years seen to be quite adaptable, right? When he took over the team in Bangalore FC as a head coach, he had players like Miku, Eric, and Dimas and all who still in their pomp, and quite a few Lenny and all of them were also there, I think. So Lenny was there, I don't know, but he had a good team, Rahul Beke and all of them. So what he did with that team was make them defensively sound. If you go from Roca's team to his team, you realize that Carles is actually a little more defensive coach. But his number two, Zaragoza, at that time was an excellent number two. So that's why for him he needs a very good number two, and that's the hope that Dimas can step up to. And Eric Partalu honestly told me that the year that they lost to Mohun Bagan in the semi-finals, which is a year
Yes,
after they won the title, he said
correct.
Carles and he had to pull mountains, uproot trees to get the kind of performance from that team. And that year you saw them go even further defensively because he realized that that is the way to get the team to the level that he wants. You were missing Miku, so it's a lot more dependent on set pieces. And set pieces, not just free kicks and corners, throw ins, he has specific patterns for throw ins. If you can go and check the Johor match where they played the AFC semi final,
Semi-final,
one of the
semi-final, right?
goals, yeah, one of the goals comes from multiple throw ins. Those are all patterns that they had planned. As we move along, I think Alvin George is the one who took those throws. So he's
Yes.
very meticulous in that sense. He's very meticulous with the free kicks and everything. And every match, maybe he will give a special, like a tactical tweak, maybe one player to man mark somebody who he thinks is going to be dangerous, all that. So I wouldn't expect a lot of attacking style of football from Carles as it is. And plus, I don't think East Bengal has the kind of players to play that kind of football that easily as well. I think in this way, the marriage is quite harmonious. Both of the players and the coach will try to get the best out of them. But let's see, not all of the signings are done, so maybe we'll have to see how it goes. And if you manage to
Yes.
raise 6 crore from from crowdfunding, then maybe
Uh-huh.
you'll get some better players as well.
Acha, one thing, Sandeep, you touched upon another very important point, that colors and East Bengal's the harmony, because the mindset and everything is more or less same, because he's a defensive coach. We don't have that flair in the attack till now. What right now, because if you see East Bengal is not able to attract the top players of Indian football right now. Indian footballers. If you
Hmm.
see, I think Ananda Kumar, I think they did a very good signing. East Bengal did a very good signing, and we have Mahesh, who I think who is playing a season of his life. Last 2 seasons, what he has played right now. So for colors, yeah, what I see, and I've discussed many people who have been following Indian football. They say the same thing happened when the National Westwood went with Round Glass Punjab. There were people, ex BFC players, who came to the party over there, but that didn't work here. Here now, what we are seeing, we have got in Ishu Kumar, Khabra, already very loyal. Of both of them are very close to Cuadrat, and he's also getting in some player. Delgado is there. Then you will add on more players from his choice. We don't know who would be. Maybe there are many transfer rumors which are going on. So, do you think the Nishu Kumar, what we have seen 5 years back, or Harmanjot Singh Khabra, who was an ex Bengalian itself, he has a lot of fan following in Kolkata. So he was one of the very famous Dada of Kolkata. So once he is coming back, is he the same Khabra, or what value would they add to this East Bengal? Because you see Khabra's age is also catching up. He last season he started in 7 games out of 20 games Kerala Blasters played in the ISL. So that's my question to you. Do you think how they would fit into this team, which is trying to make a mark to go to the top six for the first time?
So Nishu is a very interesting place, right? He played his best football under Carles and Roca, and once he moved to Kerala Blasters, it didn't really work out for him. Oh, any of the seasons he was. I don't think at any point he properly cemented his position as the number one left back, because you had Jessel and a few others also who came. Even I think Sandeep Singh also played at some point, right? Left back or right back?
Correct.
Some, yeah. So
Yes.
he never managed to cement it. And of course, there were some injury issues also. So the question for me is Nishu the player that he used to be 3 4 years ago, and can the reunion with Carles, somebody who knows his strength, get him back to the old level? Because as a left wing back, he was very effective going forward. I think defensively he is still little suspect. There was times when over the top, you could get behind him. But if they can cover that part, maybe we'll see. Cabra, for me, Cabra is there more because of the player, that not because of the player that he is, but the person that he is. Cabra, universally, if you ask anybody who's played with him, any coaches who's trained him, they will all say that he is one of the best characters to have in your dressing room. He is not going to allow anybody to slack. He is going to be that leader guy who's going to push players, who is going to help youngsters. And he's one a really nice person also in general. So all of this will be very helpful for Carles, because you need a leader to run the dressing room. Over the last few years, if you look at the teams who have not really done all that well, you look and see that is there that one or two individuals who is going to be that reference points in dressing room. Just see how much Kerala improved in that season. Once Ivan's first season, Ivan was a major reason. Cabra was also a major reason. He was ever present, and he had a great season for Kerala Blasters. And he was a massive presence in as a leader, as somebody who was addressing the culture of the dressing room, and as someone who was coming here with an experience of winning things and playing in big games again and again and again. So that is what Cabra is bringing with him. And Nishu, we have to see. But overall, I do think there is a tendency for a lot of coaches in India to go with the players that they know. So you see that whole exodus happening towards Odisha now that Lobera is there. You will see the similar one or two players moving like this. Round Glass Punjab, as you mentioned, that Ashley went. But that was probably not the best move, because a lot of that players were already on the wane. You could clearly see, like, they were on the wane. So I wouldn't expect Kabra to be the first choice right back all through the season. I hope that East Bengal does sign a good right back or a good centre back who can play on that right side, however it works. But Khabra will be useful as a leader in the dressing room, as a personality. There is a funny story about Khabra also.
Please,
Uh,
please, please, please go
people
ahead.
forget
Uh,
people forget that he was a absolute legend in East Bengal when he was playing as a midfielder, right? Like, he was that hard tackling, like that chest thumping midfielder in the middle. So I think in one of the derbies, they told him you have to mark. I forgot. Is it Barreto? Some one Brazilian from Mohun Bagan. I forgot the
Bra-
name now.
Brazil,
Beto, I think.
Barreto was
Beto
so
or Barreto,
Barreto was
one
good.
of the
No, Beto
one of
left.
the two.
Beto was in Dempo. Brazilian.
Yeah.
To, in Khabra stint, I need to check this.
Anyway, one
Brazilian.
foreigner, one major foreign player who was a number 10, I think, or a striker, an attacker. So,
Sony.
not Sony
Sony
Node,
not.
no, Node. Somebody else. I forgot his name, but
Uh,
he
uh,
was saying something. And then the coach apparently told him, Cabra told the story in the injury time podcast. They told him
Marco,
that,
Marco,
yeah,
Marco,
could be,
Marco.
yeah.
Uh,
Could be. So he said, go
mm,
tell him that you are marking him. Put the fear in him and all that kind of thing. No, Kabra, you have to look after him. So Kabra went in, in the tunnel. He's wanting to go and tell him, but that fellow doesn't know the language.
uh,
So Kabra was like pointing and doing. And first minute he tackled, got a yellow card because that fellow jumped up. He saw that Kabra was coming. First minute or within the early game, he got a yellow card also. Funny
but
guy.
I think he has a connect with Kolkata fans and East Bengal
Absolutely. Yeah.
fans. He's a lovely guy, and what I've heard of him, and it's very people who are very close to him always say that he's a lovable character, and I think
And the
Kolkata is
coach's
waiting
dream.
to.
He'll do what the coach tell you to do. And that's a very important characteristic to have, which I think to an extent even Nishu has.
So Mandara Desai also this time is joining East Bengal. Mostly, is actually announcement will be done very soon. So Mandar is also joining East Bengal now. So that's the way it is. So one thing I need to ask you, Sandeep, that uh, people are expectation about Cuadrat is immense because they are wanting to East Bengal to become a champion. You being a neutral, you have been following Indian football for a long time, and your understanding of the game, and if knowing Carlos and how his mind works and all. So don't you think that because if you lose one game in Kolkata, you're always under scanner. That is not the case of Simon Grayson. He had a very lovely. I think you guys were so supportive of him. I think it is a
Yes, we were.
dream job for anybody. It's
Yes,
a dream job.
yes,
I
we were.
always say. Bengaluru in Kolkata, we said the Bengaluru coach. We thought that he would have been gone. I think we would have not waited for him when you guys lost to East Bengal in Kolkata when I think Clayton Silva scored that absolute beauty on the 30th
Late,
December,
late
this
winner.
last late winner.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that guy was gone, and this is he has taken this Bengaluru team to a new low now. Then after that the team changed and everything went away. Everything. So how important is it to have faith on coach? Because we chop and change things very quickly and very often. So don't you think it somewhat acts as a barrier to long term success? Your view on this?
Yes, I absolutely agree because when was the last time an East Bengal coach finished a season and started the next one without any problems? A lot of them don't start the next one, but when they do start without any problem, you said what 16 coaches in last 11 years,
No, 17 coaches in last 13 years, including
17
Steven.
coaches in last 13 years. That is an abysmal number when it comes to how quickly people are snacking. But when you're looking at the situation here, Carles is coming into a club which has, to be fair, struggled the last 2 3 years. There is no way to sugarcoat this, and that a lot of it comes from the fact that how they came into the league is not the most ideal way to come into the league as well. Unlike Mohan Bagan, who was merged or taken over or whatever is the right word, I think Mohan Bagan had a huge financial backing as well, which they continue to use. It's not the same case for East Bengal. And if you look at generally the table, Mumbai big spenders, Mohun Bagan big spenders, you have Hyderabad who's probably punching above their weight in the last few years. Now we have to see if they can with the coach change. Goa struggled the last couple of years. BFC is not spending as much as they used to, but still relatively well funded team. So when you're looking at all of this, the landscape is changing. A lot of players are also finding it, like you mentioned, you're not getting the best Indian players to come, which is not the case, say, 10 years ago. You would have top Indian players wanting to go to Mohun Bagan, wanting to go to East Bengal, at some point, Dempo, all these teams. And it's not the same anymore. So that we have to understand. But at the same time, fans are always going to want the best from the team. And as a neutral and as someone who's an outsider, I can only say give give him time. Easiest thing to do is see how the squad that you have and judge where that squad can be. And if they are, say seventh is where you feel like this team is going to be. If they are around 5, 6, 7, 8, he is doing a par job, right? And the next year you have to build, increase better the team. You see what are the deficiencies. This the problem with East Bengal is that the coach is going and half the team is going. So you never know. It's like how Chennai is. They are hit and miss because one time they'll have great squad, next year they'll dismantle the whole thing and put new squad. So there's no continuity in that team. So I would
Correct.
hope that he gets the time, he gets the support. But having seen history, will not say that he will receive any of these things. But maybe things can change. You tell me about that. What do you think? There is a feeling within East Bengal fans that this team is not what it used to be before, and maybe we should also recalibrate where we stand.
See, Sandeep, what I've seen is that I'll take this question and I'll give you an answer to this. This is I've seen East Bengal, the East Bengal real fans have been divided into two parts. One part is saying that yes, currently we are languishing in the top, in the bottom, and we need to give some time to the coach. And Cuadrat is one of them who can bring back us the glorious days which we had in Indian football. This is a section who are there everywhere, who are supporting the club, and there's another section who, according to them, what I know in Kolkata, things change overnight. So uh, there is a section who is now giving are highly praising Carlos Quadrat, and I know this. I remember the same thing happening last year with Steven. I remember it, and when Steven's name was announced, many of the people, that this is the man we wanted, and this is the guy who will change our fortune, and everything happened. And the same thing, the same set of people are saying the same thing with Carlos Quadrat. And I'm that is my biggest fear, is that majority of them have this feeling East Bengal is still now the best team in the country, which is not the case. If you see the Indian football market, majority of the fans feels East Bengal is the best. So this is the problem, Sandeep. We have to make people also aware that East Bengal needs to take step by step. Unnecessary pressure on coach or players will lead to the team's debacle, which has been happening for so long. And in ISL, where as you said, the clubs are on at par, on at that level, and people are spending more money than you, then it becomes very difficult for you to weigh. I'm not saying that this is the wrong, this is bad, but problem is that the internal factor is the money. Money is very, very important to have some success for the future. This is the thing what I feel. And I think Tomalda has also says this. He's a East Bengal supporter. He's staying in Goa. He says few question. Sandeep, is
Can I
Quadrat the
one
best?
thing can I just say to what you
Please,
just mentioned?
please.
Pushpendu Banerjee had made a comment that the legacy official root of all evil. The problem is not the fans, right? The problem is clearly in the boardroom. Fans of
Yes,
East Bengal should always look at winning the tight championship.
correct.
That's just how it is, because they have the history, they have the success, they have everything, the fan base, and it's a holistically that club should be challenging for titles. So the fans who have grown up watching them challenge for titles, I'm not going to say win titles all the time because I don't think they won the I League, but even then they were winning the cups and things of that nature. And that team was always there, top two, three, top two, three. So it's fair for them to understand, challenge, and hope that this they can continue this. So if the board continues to fail, then what do you do? Like, if there have been so many problems that we hear. Last year, a couple of years ago, there was all those violence. uh,
Hmm.
the fans were protesting. Few years ago, they
Yes.
didn't want to send the team for Super Cup, and there was a whole
Yes.
B team jayega, that kind of a situation. So many
Hmm.
problems coming from that level. So unless that part is sorted, I don't know uh, how much things can change. But also, for if you're looking at it from a risk reward perspective, Carles has taken this job. I'm sure he's aware of all of these things, right? He's taken this job. If he can get off to a, let's say, a decent start and manage to build some momentum, get the fans on his side, and start building something, he qualifies top six, and then his reputation will soar, right? He is the guy who took that team who are not challenging for the top six into a playoffs position. And once you get to the playoffs, one of games, you never really know what can happen. The first round, that 4 to 6 one, anything can happen. Then you can actually dream of uh, a semi-final spot and then see. And in those games, I think defensively minded coaches often do quite well. So I
Correct.
think when you're looking at a risk reward point, maybe Carles has taken this decision looking at the fact that if I can do this, and which is
Hmm.
not too tall a task, also, right? It is possible for
Yes.
East Bengal to do it. If he can do it, everything will change, and he will enhance his reputation, enhance the club's reputation, and definitely makes the fans a lot more happier.
Tomalta says, few questions, Sandeep. Is Cuadrat the best choice for East Bengal, considering he struggled with BFC in the second season? What will be the effect of change of environment between BFC and East Bengal on the coach? Is highlighting that part.
Yeah, see, Carles' second season, everybody looks at it as a failure. And I think if you look at it, the feeling when we were covering it was that it was a bad season. But if you are looking at the overall thing, he reached the semi final, lost to eventual champions. He was actually leading 2-0 or 2-1 in the semi final at one point before Prabir Das had one of those crazy games. And, they managed to win and they went on to win the title. So he lost to the champions in the semi final. He That team was quite difficult to beat. They didn't play any good football. They relied a lot on set pieces and everything. So they got there. I think what colored everything was the fact that they lost in the AFC Cup qualifiers. That is what happened. I think when you're looking at that match, they had a Mohan Bagan semi-final, then the AFC Cup match, and then the Mohan Bagan second leg of the semi-final. That 1 week was the one that decided everything. If there one or two things had gone, left or right, if one of the penalties had gone properly, or any of those things have happened, you would have seen a whole different light of the season. But I think if you're looking at it in a cold hard facts, he didn't have that bad a season. But yes, there is clearly a feeling that that team sort of underachieved that year. Most of it colored by the AFC Cup run. And the other part of the change, that is something that we have to see, because he's going into an environment where things are going to be very different. Like in Bengaluru FC, Mandar was there. He was in direct contact with all of them. It was much easier. Like you mentioned, the media and the fans were so backing him all the way. Although we did criticize his, sometimes criticize the way they played
Ah,
football and ask questions about the over reliance on set pieces to get goals and things of that nature. It was never too much. Like, I don't think anybody went too far. Maybe that is to our own detriment, right? You would want maybe a little bit more of a stand-up media, but that's not
correct.
what he saw here. In Kolkata, he is going to be under pressure, and that's the pressure that comes with coaching a team like East Bengal, coaching a team like Mohan Bagan, even Mohammedan. It would be the same, I think. So he'll have to deal with that. That I think that will determine everything. Can you get the media and the fans on your side? If you do that, then great. I don't think Constantine did a great job, honestly, uh, fronting up to the media and the fans last year, because he started losing
So
it a little.
Sandeep, how is he as a person to interact as a reporter, or you have seen him with the fans? How is he? Is he very approachable, or is uh, he is somebody who is like sort of Steven, or he's somebody like, I'll give you
He is
example
not.
of national team.
He's not like
I'll tell
Steve.
you. No, I'll tell you. Is he a person like Steven, or is a person like Bob Houghton? If you consider
Yeah,
both
he
of
is
them.
actually very approachable, very affable. If you are doing an interview, he will give you, like, you can say 20 minutes and he will talk to you for 40 minutes. And after the interview, also, if you want to have a chit chat, he is always ready to do all those things. To the media, generally, and as a person, I found him to be quite approachable and willing to explain. So when we did couple of episodes with him in the podcast over the entire stint as assistant coach, as head coach and everything, and he would always sit and explain. Like when you ask him in depth about set pieces, he will give you examples that this was a set piece we used that year, that match. Sandesh was the one who did the jump, but this time we got this fellow to do the thing, and we hit this, and we have different signals when you take the corner and the free kick. So he is willing to explain and allow you to understand. And I think even the commentators used it. They listened to the podcast and they used it in the next match commentary. I remember that that did happen. So if you are going to interview him, you will 100% have a very pleasant experience while talking to him.
Correct, correct, correct.
Even
I
fans,
may,
have you seen that video of him celebrating with the fans in the stands?
yes, yes, I've seen the video. I've seen the video.
So that was not planned. He
Okay,
just did
okay.
it because he is that guy. So yeah, it was a lovely moment. I had a friend who was sitting there, and I mean, I didn't see it because I was in the press box, but that
Okay,
fellow came and said this happened. It was a great moment. So yeah, he is
okay,
that guy. He's
okay.
a very nice man. But everything was going well for him at then. No? That also you have to remember. He was winning. Everything was going well.
Here it would be a different ball game for him. It will be
Hmm.
because what I've seen here, I think coolest of the guys has also lost cool over here because it is very tough, very tough. You're always under scanner. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
Aniket, our channel member, he has a question for you. Says when Carlos won the ISL, there was 5 foreign player allowed to play. But after then ISL turned with 4 foreigners, then Carlos' performance was dropped down. What is your view in that matter?
Yeah, I guess so. If you look at it, because he didn't coach too long into the four foreigner rule. But to be fair, at that time, even BFC's team was going through a transition, right? When you lose a player like Miku, who single handedly could win games, and then every single striker that you signed during that tenure, whether Manuel Ongu, um, that one Eastern European striker was there, a few of them they signed, it never really worked. He's struggling to get that striker who will get the goal. Christian Opseth, the last person, I think, when he was coaching, none of it really worked for them. Deshaun Brown was okay, so he missed. They lacked a striker, a finisher, and you are going from a player like Miku who scores in half chances to a player who is not scoring in good chances, or not scoring enough, or not showing enough. Some of the signings didn't play to his style, because we saw that Deshaun Brown went to Northeast United and scored a lot of goals. So Manuel Ongu went to Odisha, had a good run, but subsequently didn't perform later. So there is all these things also to look for it. Serran in Bangalore was a huge player. When a player like that is leaving, there is also that you have to fill in those spots. And I think towards the end they lost Rahul Beke also. I think
Yes, yes.
the final season. So once you lose these top performers and you don't replace them adequately at that time, then your level is bound to drop down. So I am sure there are so many other things around also which contributed to the fact that they didn't do as well. But still, I say again that he reached the semi-final of the ISL. It's like saying, did Simon Grayson have a great season last year? He reached three finals, but he won only one. So if you can look at it as a failure or you can look at it as a success. So that sort of colors it also a little bit for me.
Okay, okay. So there's an saying that there's Shiva, he's our member. He says Cuadrat wanted. He says in Bengali. I'll translate in English. He wanted to do the preseason in Spain, but investor wanted India to do it in India because that will help the team because in India the people they will play match. But if you see Kerala is going to UAE for their preseason tour, and what I've heard that Mumbai is also going is going out of the country. So, do you think that preseason? How important is preseason? How important is preseason for Carlos Quadrat? Because he need to get people trained and get some time to get the ball rolling at August when when the season starts with Duran Cup.
I think venue is not as much of a problem where the preseason happens, because sometimes the clubs are just going because it's a good headline. I don't know how much of a difference it made. There are quite a few teams who went abroad and trained, and nothing really came of it. Now we know that Mumbai will go and do preseason and come as a very good team because historically we have seen that happen. So
Huh.
yeah, so I don't think venue matters so much, but yes, preseason is going to be massive for him. But first of all, he needs to know who are his players, who all are the ones who are confirmed signing. When the preseason starts, then he can start working. Like you mentioned, Mandar is coming. Then you have Nishu. Neither one of them is really filling you with confidence now. Are they? As far as the left back position goes. So then you have to figure out
Correct.
maybe it's a back three or it's a left back but with one withdrawn defensive midfielder giving cover. Is it a double pivot? So all of this thing he will have to figure out once the team gets in the way, like all comes together. Yes, of course he has Mahesh Nauram Mahesh, which I guess it's a good signing. Nanda, I am little skeptical about Nanda. He had a great season last year, but every time one player plays for one season, we tend to give them crazy contracts and push them to the moon. So hopefully he can kick on because he is talented boy. We've seen him in Chennai for a very long time. So
Hmm.
can he kick on? So if you have two really good wingers and the striker who's a good number nine, some problems can be solved. You need to get the rest of the spine ready now. Is Ivan Gonzalez staying? No, right? He's leaving.
No, but what I'm hearing is that they are wanting to leave him, but Ivan is wanting the full settlement, but East Bengal is ready to play only 6 months salary,
Okay.
and that's the problem. That is a problem which is actually hindrance acting as a hindrance. But again, yeah, leaving sending off Ivan, I think if there is no option, I think Ivan would continue because if he's not leaving, then you have to
Hmm.
play him. There's no other option. You want a foreign centre back. I've heard an Asian centre back is in contention to come to East Bengal. More or less, foreigner is more or less sorted with Sol Crespo, Bora, who has joined us this season. Crespo also, I think he's a very good player, and
Hmm.
East Bengal is already got Clayton Silva with them. So then they got. I think they got from the striker from Toro. Toro, they got it from Hyderabad. So they've
Hmm.
got him also. So if you see East Bengal's foreigner base, what I think is sorted. They need a good one center back position. But problem, Sandeep, what I feel while covering East Bengal games for so long, what I feel, I think you would agree with me in this way that main thing what I've seen of the recent past last few years in ISL, team which won the title has a good set of Indian players in them.
Yes.
Indian set, and that is a factor. No, I think that is the only thing East Bengal needs to work into. East Bengal needs a very good goalkeeper. They need a very good Indian center back. Lal, people in Kolkata have high regards for Lal. Even me, he's a young guy, young chap. He needs some time. But don't you think that East Bengal should not spend time most on fancy names, or they should spend more time in going to I League and getting some players, because there have been few good players from I League, and I see Kerala Blasters doing a good way in that ways. They're getting in many players from I League this season. So what is your take on this?
So there is actually two sides that I've heard, both from different coaches and some from Indian coaches as well.
Mhm.
It's that there is always one discussion that I League ISL the level difference is not that much, and over the last few years maybe that difference has grown, the level difference. Now, if you look at who is an I League player that you can say who has moved up to ISL and continue to perform at the same level, not
Mahesh,
too
Mahesh,
many. Yeah,
Mahesh is
there is a smattering of players here and there. But generally speaking, that's not really how it has gone. Vidyasagar came, lot of goals in the I League, didn't get a chance in BFC. Maybe you thought that club was not giving him a chance. Went to Kerala Blasters, didn't really do much there also. So at that some point, we have to wonder whether the coaches think, okay, we have better options here. Then you have other players also. Falguni Singh went to Mohun Bagan, but maybe it's because he went to Mohun Bagan because obviously it's tough to get a chance to play in Mohun Bagan, and he was I think the best player in the I League that year. So you
yes,
have people coming up from I League and not really lighting up the whole situation, and at the same time you see players in ISL going around in rounds from one team to the next team to the next team, never actually cementing their place or lighting, setting the world on fire. So at some point, we have to look at it and say maybe that ISL player who's coming for a premium, instead of them, we can get the I League players one season to settle down and then see if he can kick on. Michael
correct,
Susairaj is another example. Even Nanda, for that matter, came from Chennai City right at one point. Right? It took him so
correct,
long to sort of establish himself at this level. So yeah, I think it's not as easy, but you're absolutely right that Indian players are the ones who determine who wins and who loses in the end. Like you might have the foreign striker scoring the goals, but a lot of the work is done by Indian left backs, Indian right backs, the Indian midfielder, the wide players. So I think that part is very crucial. And for East Bengal, when they came to the ISL, they came to a market which is already taken. So all the best players are already signed. They didn't have a
correct.
chance to, unless they spent a lot of money, they didn't have that chance to get those players. And a lot of the clubs didn't want to let the players go also. So I feel East Bengal started from a lower level because of this. That they came and they didn't have a team of ISL stature, and then they couldn't spend that kind of money. Like imagine wanting to who would you say? Mohan Bagan will go and buy Anirudh Thapa, throw that kind of money around. East Bengal cannot do that. So that is the problem, and the fact that Mohan Bagan can do that makes it even worse for East Bengal, right? You feel like a city rival is throwing so much money out and winning, and you can't do that. So they will have to find some other way to move people up the ranks. And if taking 1 year or something to blend in the youngsters or the I League players to give them that kind of experience and to hold on to them for the next year because you have given them that experience and then play, maybe that could be a long game for them to play because you can't lose your best players every year. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Correct. 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 I think Kumar has also the same point. He says if East Bengal cannot spend money like Mumbai City or Mohun Bagan, East Bengal should sign some good young players from I League teams like Aizawl, Shillong. If the transfer fee budget is over, budget is something which I am hearing that Prabsuk and Gill also they were interested to get in, but I think the transfer fee demanded by Kerala Blasters is also huge, and they are trying to
Hmm.
negotiate it. So because East Bengal is in the dire straits of having a good goalkeeper right now.
Hmm.
Acha, he says that he's saying, I already said this. Bhai, your first this question has been taken. We are wasting time on young players. Acha, one thing, Sandeep, what I've seen right now and in Kolkata that there's a transfer market news every day coming up. He's getting linked to this one. XYZ is coming to East Bengal. YZ some player is coming to East Bengal again. So Sandeep, I need some clarification because you know the South, the football and everything, how it's working. Your channel, you have got there was recently a link up with Sana Singh coming to East Bengal. That one of the portal said that Sana is in the link with East Bengal. And what is your people in Hyderabad saying that is there any chance Sana Singh can come to East Bengal because everybody in East Bengal is expecting a last minute drama in East Bengal. Any idea about this, Sandeep?
Couple of weeks ago when I did speak to them, it didn't look like that was going to happen. But
Okay.
if we are talking about throwing some money at them, 100%, I think Hyderabad will take it, because you have to, that offer has to be, you say no, we cannot deny that offer. That kind of offer goes for Sana, I think they will take it. But I don't think they're necessarily looking to sell him. From what I was told, they are ready. They've lost. Akash Mishra obviously is on his way out. We've not done yet, but we know he's on his way out, and they have lost couple also. They were hoping to hold on to Yasir, uh, then couple of other Hitesh and few others as well, and trying to get the next generation to come through also. So
Hmm.
Sana is a part of their plans, but if East Bengal wants to give some money, maybe they'll take it. But also at the same time, Sana is also going through some personal problems, right, with what is
Yes,
happening in Manipur. I don't know
correct.
how much he's paying attention to all of this at this moment also, because situation is getting worse and worse in Manipur.
So,
But
so, so
would you
another,
want him to come?
yes, we will love to have him. Yeah, people are waiting. The people will go to the airport to pick him up. People are
Mm.
so they are wanting. They are at least they want somebody who can be. People were expecting Yasir to come to East Bengal. There was a link up made by one of few of them that Yasir, their East Bengal is trying Yasir, but what I checked also that was basically a wild rumor itself. So, any other player Hyderabad you think can retain, barring Hitesh, barring Sana? I've heard that Hitesh and Yasir is also most likely to stay with them. Is it true?
Yeah, they are planning on that. Yasir definitely, Hitesh also. I don't think Hitesh has any suitors at the moment also. Might be some early contacts, but they are hoping to hold on to them, because for them also it's a huge rebuilding job. With the coach also leaving, and the coach who's come in is not able to take over, so Tangboy has to stand do the be the head coach and all of that. So I wonder if it's a little helter skelter in that club also, but how can you hire a coach who that does not have the same you know the level of badges that is required? Admittedly, he might get it midway through the season, so unless they think that coach is so good that they have to take it, or they probably somebody missed a step over there. I don't know which one it is.
So, Sandeep, another thing I think I should ask you this because in Kolkata people are want to know that. Sandeep, what do you think? What do you think is the way forward for East Bengal this season to get back our get so that we get back our glorious days? Because people in East Bengal fans are always there for their club. Whatever may be the result, the supporters are always there for the club. And do you think it's high time now club as an entity also pays them back something? Because uh, we have not got any major trophy for last 20 years. Now it's a huge time. Huh? If you see a 20-year old kid growing up, he has not seen East Bengal winning a national league title. It's a huge
Yeah,
time.
it's a long time. 20 years is a generational period. There will be, like you mentioned, a lot of people who never saw East Bengal win the National League and have only heard of the glory days. So, yes, absolutely, East Bengal. Look, if somebody, let's say if a Roman Abramovich is coming to buy a club, right? He's looking at which clubs can I buy. East Bengal is 100% on top of that list, because you come with a fan base of thousands, you come with a history of a century plus, you come with this passion at a stadium, at a city which is built for football. Why would you not take it? So, whatever, a lot of the stuff that has happened, I mean, you will know a lot more than me, came because of what was happening at the highest level in the club. It's got nothing to do with the players that they've signed, nothing to do with the coaches to a large extent and all. Sometimes, yes, they have also made mistakes, but by and large, even if they kept getting the coaches wrong, let's assume that all the coaches that played in East or coached in East Bengal were not good coaches. Okay. So at some point, we have to also look at the people who hired all these bad coaches. We know that they are not bad coaches, because a lot of them have gone on to do well before or after. Right. So at some point, we have to look at the people above these coaching staff, above the playing staff, and see that the people who are making decisions are making poor decisions. And like I mentioned, it's not like even when East Bengal is not doing so well, it's not like the crowd don't support. It's not like the passion is not there. It's died down. People have lost. There are so many clubs whose fans numbers have reduced when they
Correct.
don't do well. And all those we see, right? Like on TV they say, oh, the fans are not there as they used to be and stuff like that. But East Bengal continues to have that craze and that fan base and that passion. And now also, like you mentioned, they are trying to crowd fund. They are getting money. They are
Yes.
getting what, upwards of a crore already.
Yes, they close to what I've heard.
So
Close.
that much, that's the passion that the fans have. So they have to, at some point, even if they don't win title, they have to show that they're moving in the right direction. They have to show that ambition. If they get the coach, they have to back the coach. If they get the players, they have to get the players that the coach wants. And everything has to move in the same direction. And it is high time, really high time, that the people sitting on top figure out, first of all, figure out the differences between themselves, and then move in the right direction. Have a better media fan outreach program. No, it's not very
That
difficult.
is
You have a media
no.
manager, have a
We
outreach
have
program.
that
Like
is
there are
that is
clubs
something
doing it. There are
correct.
clubs doing it,
There are
right? Bangalore is doing it. FC Goa does a good job with it. Even Kerala Blasters does a good job with it. Mumbai is starting to do it more and more. So it's not like they can't do this, and it's not like there is no interest. Also, there is huge interest. Such small things will make a huge difference, right? Imagine a fan getting a chance to go talk to the coach, saying what is happening, what is wrong. The coach can tell him. Maybe the top guys in the, let's say you have so many fan groups, and two three of them from each fan group goes and has a chance to interact with the coach and players and stuff. He can tell his problems, and this will not be reported by a reporter. This is
correct.
just between the fans and the club and the coach. He can say what he wants to say. This is not working, that is not working, or that day the support that you gave pushed us through to the win. Whatever it is, that communication is there, that relationship is there. And East Bengal deserves it, and East Bengal fans absolutely deserve it.
Correct. So, Sandeep, I think we would I'll ask few of our members to be who wanted to ask you a few questions. So I will send them this link. They can join and they can ask you question directly.
Sure.
So, Sandeep, one thing before people start coming in the show and ask you questions, I think one thing I need to ask you is how you see. I think one of my friend Kumar said this question. I didn't took his question actually. There was we were discussing about East Bengal and just 1 minute. I'll just take his question. He says about I think something regarding. He says, Mr. Menon, according to you, what has been the biggest boon in Karnataka or Bangalore football? What do you think should be the next step for Bangalore?
Is this for Bangalore football or Bangalore FC?
Bangalore
Bangalore
football.
football.
Bangalore. Uh, he says what
So
Menon, what is according what is your the
for
best
Karnataka or Bangalore football, right?
yes.
Yeah. So what we have seen, s- the last big player to come, and I say big player to come from Bangalore was Shanmuga Venkatesh. He was player of the year for the for in Indian football, won all that. I think late 2000s, early 2010s. That is when he was on his peak and then went. So from then on, Bangalore did not have a great player. You had NS Manju and few others here and there, but that standout Carlton Chapman football, that level player, Shanmugam Venkatesh. Before that, you had Arumai Nayagam. You had
Mm.
many others players of that ilk for a long time. That Asian Games medal winning team had a lot of Bangalore, Karnataka footballers. You had the same in the Olympics, that era when they were good. A lot of Bangalore footballers were there, and I say Karnataka footballers. I shouldn't say Bangalore. And then it sort of died. But what has happened in the last 10 years is we have seen a slight renaissance of Bangalore football again. They're trying to do a lot of things. So the new association, Mr. N.A. Harris, who's now the AIFF vice president, he's been in power
Yes.
for 3-4 years or so. Since then, we have
Yes.
seen a lot of investment going into playing more football. So there is youth Premier League that happens every weekend for under 7 to under 13, 14, 15. So they play every weekend. There is more than 1,400 football matches that are held by KSFA alone in different guises. The C division All the divisions are happening more constantly, more rigorously. There is better competition there. Super Division is the longest, I think, local league in the country. They had over 20 teams last year. I think 20 teams or something. So there's all of this is adding will add up at some point. They are having inter-district tournaments. So if Coorg wants to have a tournament, the KSFA will send them balls and will help them with referees. Will do whatever they can to facilitate. And they've even taken a very lax, not a lax stand, like a relaxed stand, in that you want to conduct a tournament, we are going to support you in whatever way we can. If you just want to put it saying that Karnataka Football Association's affiliated tournament, they are okay with that also. If it helps win promotion, if it helps you get more money to in sponsorship, whatever you want, they are willing to do. And that part, that kind of openness has allowed them. If you see the Santosh Trophy in the last 5 years, Karnataka has consistently been in the top four, and they have even now they have won, they're the champions also, but they have done
Yes.
it over a course of time. You can argue that their players are not completely from Karnataka and a lot of them are from outside, but that is just how Santosh Trophy is. They're
Yes.
playing by the rules within the trophy, but this time around you had a lot of the local players also who actually were played and won. So Karnataka football is improving. I think a couple of years ago there were 4 or 5 players in the Indian Arrows team, including the goalkeeper who was signed by Mumbai City,
Yes.
that young keeper. So we have to see how far they can go. We can't make any judgments on that, but I do feel like they are doing a lot of right things. Maybe in another 10 years, or we might see some really good players come out of it. There is one boy in Bengaluru FC who I first wrote about him as a 7-year-old in 2019. He has actually
Okay.
been doing really well. So he is
Okay.
another one of them that people are expecting a lot out of. There are 2, 3 of them out. That Roots Football Academy also has a few players. So there is talent here. How they develop is going to be a question that we have to see in due time. But they're doing better than what they used to do for sure.
No, I asked Igor about it. Igor was heaping praise about the Bengaluru FC, how they have got in the setup in Bellary and everything is so fine, according to him. It is actually a top notch how they are running the show over there. So that is something
Yes,
which we could
there
we
is a.
could
I
see.
am also a little skeptical about this. Yes, their facility is fantastic, right? There is no
Yeah.
denying that JSW has put a lot of money to make that into a fantastic facility. That's where even other athletes go and train. Their JSW athletes
Yes.
often go there to train, to rehab, to do all those kind of things. So, kudos to them. But if
Yes. Yes.
you actually look at football as a whole across the
Yes.
world, there is no great facility in Argentina. Let's be honest, they're playing in mud grounds. You see videos of Messi running around in those mud grounds and playing in
Yes.
this small area that they are trying to play. Football in Brazil is the same. Anywhere in global south, generally, that is the case. But
Yes.
they are the
Yes.
world champions. They are some of the best
Yes.
teams. So it's not so much about infrastructure as much as it is about culture and how you
Yes.
develop that society and culture across along with the sport. So you look at Manipur
Sure.
and Mizoram. It's not like they have fantastic facilities, but they produce a lot of
Yes.
players for the national team.
I think Mizoram and Manipur, Tithe after Tithe took over and they did a splendid job. I think. I think
Yeah, yeah.
many of
Mizoram
us
last
are
time they
not
were
aware of.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah,
Superb. I
fantastic.
think. So I'll ask one of our members, Tomalda. He's a very close, dear friend of mine. He's joined first. So Tomalda,
Hi.
hello. Hi Tomalda, welcome to the show. Sandeep Tomalda is one of our old friend and a very good watch. But he has been following Indian football for a long time. And Tomalda is a East Bengal fan and an Indian national football team fan. And he would Tomalda, tomar question, your question to Sandeep. Any question?
Sandeep, uh, are you based in Bangalore?
Yes, yes. I'm from Kerala, but based in Bangalore.
Yeah, yeah. No, from your comments, I figured out you are from Bangalore. Um,
Hmm.
I just I studied in Bangalore. Okay, I did
Hmm.
my PhD in Bangalore
Yeah.
in ISC.
Oh, I work in ISC now.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
in MCB,
Okay, okay.
microbiology and cell
Yeah,
biology.
yeah, yeah. Lovely campus, huh?
Yeah, but those days ISC was out of. core
Ah.
Bangalore. Now it's kind of core of Bangalore.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so, Sandeep, I have uh, a very fundamental question. I don't know uh, whether you have that experience.
Hmm.
2001, we had a full Kantirava Stadium
Hmm.
where we beat uh, UAE in
Hmm.
World Cup qualifier.
Hmm.
Julos Alberto
Hmm.
scored the goal. I was in the stadium.
Hmm.
Uh, so that it's a fully packed stadium.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So from that to now, did we grow the football culture in Bangalore, or it's stagnant, or it was stagnant in between and now it's picking up? I'm just curious to know from you.
Yeah. See, I honestly do think it was stagnant for a very long time. And even now, if you are looking at it, Bangalore FC games will get, say, anywhere between 3,000 to 8,000. Maybe if it's a like a bigger game, somewhere around 12,000, 13,000. And Kerala Blasters come, it's generally a full stadium. So that's generally how it works. But when you go and see Super Division, those other tournaments, like the Calcutta League, still attracts a lot of fans, right? That does not happen in Bangalore anymore.
No, no,
There,
Calcutta League does not attract too much of people nowadays
oh, so all the photos
because
that I see are old, is it?
no, 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 it's old photos because last few years most of the Calcutta League matches are happening outside of Calcutta,
Hmm.
which is in Greater Calcutta. So smaller stadiums, few capacities are low, so we are not
Hmm.
actually having the old style Calcutta Football League.
Okay.
So that's why it's kind of a bit different. And if you see the I League attendance for Mohammedan Sporting, or even ISL attendance of East Bengal or Mohun Bagan, uh, they are significantly lower than what it used to be earlier. So there is what I'm saying is there is a change
Hmm.
over a period of time. We are seeing less people, more people are following Indian football on social media
Hmm.
than going to the stadiums. I live in Goa,
Yeah.
and this is my 10th year in Goa since I moved here from Madrid.
Hmm.
And I remember uh, going to Margao Stadium
Hmm.
uh, to watch initially I leagues and then ISLs. I League was always very less spectators and all, and but when ISL started, first few years when Jico was the coach of FC Goa,
Hmm.
we used to see 75% to 100% occupancy in the stadium. Now we don't.
Hmm.
So we have also gone through a COVID situation, right, for
Sure. Yeah.
2 3 years, and but last year also FC Goa, they struggled to get
Correct.
enough
Yeah.
spectators, so they opened for this corporate memberships, uh, etc., which is kind of innovative, and I think it's innovative and pragmatic too. I
Hmm.
also have a membership
Hmm.
on that as a
With
I
FC
have
Goa?
with FC Goa, I have a corporate
So I am
membership.
sure you must have received a call from the club.
Yeah, I do. I do. I am a
Yeah.
member of Goa Chamber of Commerce, and through them they approaches and all. But I'm seeing is number of the crowd. Uh, there is there is a steady decrease in the number of crowds in Goa.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Kolkata, I go every 2 3 months. Whenever there is a game of East Bengal, I try to be there in the ground, and I see the same trend. You know, and if I'm not wrong, it's it's not that great either in other part of India except Kerala. Kerala is kind of completely different, and
Yes.
I must applaud for that.
Yeah.
So what's going
So
wrong?
I
What's
think you are absolutely correct that there is a decline in number of people going to stadium. Like whenever I have seen games, it's always the derbies. So you
Yeah,
would expect that to be full, right? That game you would think
yeah,
is a massive draw.
but that
The
cannot
rest
be
of the
the
games,
benchmark.
exactly.
Yes.
The rest of the games, I can't say what's happening in Calcutta because I'm watching on TV, and sometimes I ask them, like last season when they said there was nobody in the stadium, I asked a couple of journalists to send me photos of the stadium. So they did send me, and you would see one section has maybe a large number of people on or whatever. But again, nowhere close to what it used to be. I think there are multiple reasons for this, and one is obviously this is Indian football has not improved in the last 20, 30 years. Let's be very honest. Like, we can talk
Indian
about
food,
the great,
so Indian football did not improve, or the performance of the Indian national team did not improve. Two different,
both have not
very fine
improved.
line between them.
Yeah, but both have not improved because my national team at the end of the day is your mascot, and your national team has not played in any high level tournaments for a long time. After 2011, you played 8 years later in 2019, and now we are playing back to back Asian Cup again. So there is, and in the meantime, you have other sports like cricket, which has taken obviously boomed a lot since 2008, especially with IPL coming in and the spectators going. Like last year, when we saw the IPL final, 1 a.m., there was over 2 crore people watching.
Yeah,
That's the number that 1 a.m. on a Monday. So that's the kind of number that that sport is pulling, which is not even a national team game. It's just an IPL game. And at the same time, you have badminton, another sport that has come up and became major thing. Now Neeraj winning has brought athletics again into a focus, and now you have Jyoti Araji also running. All of this, there are things happening in other sport. Tennis is another one which has fallen down because you don't have any star players, and you can't see the next star also. So football now has to have consistent performances where the national team has to do well and the league also has to improve. Now, I you can argue that ISL has done something to that. Network TV, prime time, good quality production, HD, all those things. Maybe some amount of fans who actually used to go to the stadiums are now sitting and watching at home because it is much more comfortable. Maybe they didn't want to go, and some stadiums are far and they didn't want to do all that. They're just watching at home. That could be one reason. But again, the numbers fluctuate greatly between different teams playing. Another thing I've noticed is, especially in the last few years, fans have in some ways had their voice restricted, right? There was banners and stuff that was put in, and they were not allowed to put for the national team for matches in Kolkata. So there
Yes.
is
People.
some amount of dissonance between the fans and the authorities or whatever. Early football is one of those things where generally people go and talk a lot and show their protest world over. So we have not allowed the same. It's not the most easiest thing to go to a game. Sometimes the views are not great. Sometimes the stadium is not that great. Bathrooms are not clean. There are so many factors that adds to a fan experience also. That 90 minutes might be entertaining, but everything around it, to travel to the stadium, how easy is it? How to get a cab or an Uber or a metro or a train or whatever? How easy is that? All of this is adding to a situation where I don't think we take we do take fans for granted, and we do expect them to keep coming and pour money in, like East Bengal's. We keep coming back to this, but the fact that they're crowdfunding shows that they're taking. They believe that fans are going to support no matter what. So that kind of an apathy has kept in. I don't know what is going to be a solution. There are people like us, like even we write some stories. We hope that it gets picked up and people start reading. There are some stories that I have written which I thought were very relevant, which is nobody has read. So,
mm.
at the end of the
So,
day, we have
so
to.
Sandeep, my last question. I know there
Yes.
are other people also in that panel, and They also should talk. My last question to you is: we are having Intercontinental Cup in Bhubaneswar.
Hmm.
Um, the attendance, it's picking up.
Hmm.
I think in the last match we had more spectators than what
Yeah.
we had in the first one, uh, and in the final probably we'll have little more. Compared to that, just use Bhubaneswar as a reference.
Hmm.
What do you expect um, in terms of fans participation in Sub Cup, which is going to start immediately after the Intercontinental Cup? Do you expect more participation? I may end up. I'm actually tempted to fly down to Bangalore and
Hmm.
watch at least one game. It's had been quite a long time I didn't watch the
Yeah.
national team match. I'm just wondering, what is your expectation? Because you have more experience on the ground reality than
Yeah.
any of us.
I think from the last matches that they've played here, World Cup qualifiers and stuff, there was a good amount of crowd. But Kandirva Stadium is not the most biggest to fill, right? On
Right,
a
right,
complete stadium is 25,000. So
right.
I would assume anywhere around 13,000 to 15,000 should be there. That's what I
That's
assume
decent.
because,
That's decent. At least
yeah, and I
considering the
also
current
think,
situation.
correct, absolutely. But what I worry about
So,
is
so you are telling me if I fly down to Bangalore, I can easily go to the counter and buy a ticket?
I don't know how the ticketing is being done this time, but
No,
I
I'm
would
just
think
joking.
so.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. But it is rainy season, and if it showers in Bangalore,
right.
generally the traffic is done. Like nothing moves in the city. So that is one worry that I have. Like if it starts to rain, is there going to be some drop in people coming? But
Hmm.
I would assume around 30,000, I mean 13,000 should be there, because Bangalore also hasn't hosted an international match since
Quite a long
2016,
time.
2015,
Yeah, yeah,
2016. I think
yeah.
Guam was probably the last
Right.
match that they have hosted. So they are also looking forward to it. So I would think that much, and only because stadium is pretty. All things considered, if there is no rain and traffic issue is not bad. Stadium is actually like you. I'm sure you know it's right in the middle of the city. It's
Right.
not very difficult to get to Kandira Stadium from most parts of the city. So, yeah, I would expect a lot of them to show up, especially for the Pakistan game. I know the Pakistan
Yeah,
team
I'm
is
tempted
reaching
actually
Bangalore on
to attend
18th.
that match.
Yeah, the team is landing on day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow night,
Yeah, yeah.
Pakistan
Mm.
team is landing. So yeah, so it looks like that match is going to happen. The last Pakistan match, India Pakistan, I watched as an under 23 match with
Yeah,
Alan
long back.
Johnson on playing.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wim Koverman's coach.
Right. Good, good, good. Carry on, Sandeep, and there are other panelists here.
Yeah,
They
nice,
have
nice
their.
talking to you.
Thank you,
Uh,
Sandeep. Bye.
thank you, Tamal. Thank you.
Hi, Sayan. Hi,
Hi,
Sandeep.
hi,
I have
Abhishek.
been
Hello.
following injury time arc, and you have seen some words, and I have seen your comments on Indian football. I have one question regarding in any top five leagues.
Hmm.
If player doesn't perform in any team, he will go to some other lower team, and then if he don't perform there also, he will go to the second region. But in ISL, same players are revolving around again and again. That is the problem. One of the major aspect of growth of Indian football. This is how happens.
Absolutely
But
agree with
players
you.
also not coming to the ladder. They have to climb up the ladders. For example, you take Ankit Mukherjee. I have
Hmm.
recent news that Chennai FC signed Ankit Mukherjee. You have
Hmm.
seen very good performance in East Bengal last time. No disrespect to him. See, this is the same problem. The people are signing. I don't know who are the technical directors, who are the people they are signing. If they don't perform, you have to go to the second league. If you don't perform there also, you have to go to the third division and your career should be ending. But in Europe, that is what happens. But in Indian football, same people revolving again and again and again. What is your take on this?
I agree 100%. The same people seem to find clubs again and again and again at some level when they don't deserve it. Also, like you mentioned, quite a few of them. You could argue that maybe a move to I League would be beneficial for their careers. Maybe they can find their level again and come back, get the confidence or whatever. But yeah, I
I
agree.
have,
But a lot of it also has to do, and a lot people won't talk about this. Agents also play a major role in how this happens.
Yes.
They keep,
and one see
yeah,
one more question. I have I want to one thing say. You know, Real Betis Joe Quinn. He's a
yeah,
40-year-old guy retired.
yeah. He just retired.
He got less chances, but he played. He has the quality. He knows that his age will not start every game. He got some less chances in middle of career when
Hmm.
his form is deep. But
Hmm.
our Indian ISL clubs will play the players however he bad it is. They will play him.
Yeah, I know. I
For
agree. There is a lot of truth in all of this, and like I mentioned, at least in the transfer part, agencies play a major role. But if you, one thing I have seen, which is I hope is a trend, which I've seen it in Mumbai and in Kerala. Des Buckingham, when he came in, they had a big money signing in Mohammad Nawaz. This
Yes.
fellow came in, gave him enough chance, and said, "Okay, you're not for me." Got Purba in. Purba has kept the place. No matter how much money that Nawaz is on, Purba is their number one, undisputed number one. Played the Champions League and played the whole of ISL last year, and also displaced him before. He came on for penalty shootouts. All those things they
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
They
I
did.
know. But one
So
more thing I don't agree about you is Argentina. Argentina has so many big clubs, Boca Junior, River Plate. You
hmm,
are saying that the Boca Junior Stadium is absolutely world class. It is painted with yellow. See, the nowhere in India we don't have the stadiums which are specific football stadiums. In
yes,
India
I
we
did
have
not
any
say
football?
that when we talk about infrastructure, we're not talking about the stadiums or the
But
clubs.
they have the academies also in Argentina. You see Uruguay, the players coming through. You can see Francisco. He came from you know the Brighton player Francisco
Hmm.
Insigne.
So this is
He's
what I'm
scoring
saying.
goals like
Once you get to those clubs, the Primera Division clubs, then you are in a good position. But a lot of these players play a lot of games in the local, very small teams. So from ages 3 to 7, 8, 9, 12, a lot of them play in the neighborhood teams. A lot of them are played by not high level coaches. They play in smaller places wherever they can play. And when have you ever seen an Argentina player, or as a kid, if you even watch videos of Argentina's streets and stuff, they will never ever carry a football. That football is always on the floor, whether it's on the road, whether it's wherever, and they're
yeah,
always
yeah.
playing it and touching it. So that is a culture that they come with. Go to, there is a website called Players Tribune. If you go there and read stories of Angel Di Maria and how he lived and the distance he used to cycle, his father used to cycle kilometers to take him to a local team, and then all of these kind of hardships that they go through, and to finally, and lot of them don't make it, right? Everybody in
Yeah.
Argentina plays football. Everybody in Uruguay plays football. Everybody in Brazil plays football. A lot of them don't make it, and then they play in the local black tournaments and these small side tournaments and everything. That culture is very strong there, and that will make up for anything. Like in England, you've seen those academies and all the facilities they have. The global south, when you look at it, mostly
Yeah,
Latin
yeah.
America, Africa, and all of them, they generally don't have that amount of money. They're not that developed and successful, financially. So that is where
But
the culture is trumping them.
yeah, but there is a culture. The people attending the matches, it is
100%.
nowhere to
That
match
culture
in
we
India.
don't have. We have that in cricket. We don't have that in
But
football.
if IPL goes through 8 months, I don't think people will attend every match. I don't agree. See, IPL is
I
for 2 months
honestly,
and then
I honestly don't know, because the pricing for the Bangalore matches in IPL and all was insane, and people were calling me saying that, can you try and see if we can get tickets? We will pay for it. So we couldn't find it. Maybe you can ask your sources. We will pay. They said 30,000, up to 30,000 for a ticket. I can go. So they're willing to shell that kind of money just to see 4 hours of entertainment. So yes, I understand that every day is going to be really difficult. But if you had a weekend sort of a system, I really don't know what cricket will do. Because I know
and
for
one
a
more
fact
thing,
that
one more
kids, yeah, sorry, kids in
one more
Bangalore.
thing, Neeraj. One more thing I want to say. Neeraj Chopra and
Hmm.
Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu, they got international success. That's why people are bending towards that sport. If
Yes.
you see I'm from Andhra Pradesh. You know the PV
Hmm.
Sindhu came from Andhra.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
a huge. interviews are going on after he got success. But they got success in international level, in Olympics, majorly in Olympics
Correct.
and in badminton series.
Hmm.
See, in India, people who worship after they get success, not
Can,
before. That,
can I answer your question if you don't mind? Can I answer your question?
yeah, yeah.
Once India gets a position in this upcoming in this upcoming championship, believe me, all of the Indians will tend towards football again, because there is many people all over India who loves football till date. Believe me or not, many people in India, they all love football, but due to the lack of, because Indian football is not reaching to that height, they are tending towards cricket, because India is more successful in cricket than in football. Just to answer your question.
And one more thing regarding Sayan, what about the goalkeeper, Kamaljeet Singh? If you keep that goalkeeper, you will concede more. Last season, you have seen the positioning of the goalkeeper, and he will save unbelievable saves, and he will leave some easy saves. I don't know how he will get through careless. I don't know how he will get through with Kamaljeet Singh.
But can I
If you
ask
see
one
better, you
question?
can
Like,
go for.
who's a goalkeeper that you think is very good? Forget the Amrinder and Gurpreet, the national team players. Who was a
Ranching
good
also.
goalkeeper? Yeah, yeah. Purba again, national team, right? Who is one rung below that? Who is there? Because I feel it's very interchangeable. Kattimani coming back from injury, I don't know what level he's been. He'll be in. He's also quite old now. Kerala Blasters extended their goalkeeper again. Prabshagan
Uh,
is good, but I don't think they let him go that easily. So
uh,
who's there that you feel is a good keeper?
you're asking me or Kumar?
Anybody can answer. Like, I'm genuinely curious because all of them seem to have their Jekyll and Hyde character. They'll make great saves, but let go some very easy goals.
See,
Uh,
I personally, if you ask me, I can answer. I think Kumar can add to that. See, Kamaljeet was a huge disappointment last year, because if you see many of the matches we lost was only because of the goalkeeping basic error what he did. Even I said it to Steven also in one of the games after the game once we met, and I said him that why do keep him in the side, because I don't think, because Steven had also this issue, no, they didn't have another player of that level to play in ISL, because I've seen Shubham Sen, he was not up to that level to play in ISL. So that was the issue we had. But what surprised me was after the Super Cup win, again I met Steven, and when he was about to leave, and I asked him, coach, there was an ex goalkeeper who was supposedly to join East Bengal, who didn't join. I am not taking his name. He's a national team goalkeeper right now, one of the national team goalkeepers right now. He was last season was supposedly joined East Bengal, but that didn't happen. And I asked him, and if you would have got him and you would have not said no that time, you would have been in a better position that time. And the way right now, Sandeep, you said, he said the same thing to me. I still remember the word he said to me. He said me, all the goalkeepers in the world in the India is prone to make mistakes. Kamaljeet is not so bad goalkeeper. What do you think of him to be? So then I then we had some arguments, and I used to always say, and he I would say that there are very few people who can make you I can make him angry also, and at the same time we can touch him up after 2-3 minutes of discussion. What happened? I said him one thing, that if you see Kamaljeet as a whole, he was very unsure of his position. What Kumar was saying right now, he was very unsure of where he should stand and where he should move. And if you see, remember the first derby where we lost to Mohun Bagan, we played really well. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
I told Steven that we played the I think best derby after a long time. We have been beaten by Mohun Bagan. That's a different game, but we played the best derby that time. But again, that goal by Hugo Bumos and a great mistake by Kamaljeet Singh changed the fortune for, and that was not only the same case. I remember Orissa game where we lost 4-2. We were leading 2-0 in the first half. Second half, Kamaljeet
San-
makes two blunders and we were out of the game. This is the problem. I said, but people may have different opinion. But I think East Bengal deserves a better number one goalkeeper than Kamaljeet Singh. Now, Kumar, it's up to you.
Sandeep, you can say Nawaz and Jira Singh is any day far better than Kamaljeet Singh. You can go for both instead
Hmm.
of if you go for if Prabhshuvan Gill is not coming, if they are unable to pay the transfer, they can go for Nawaz or Dheeraj Singh. I think Odisha goalkeeper shifted to Goa. What is his name? Amandeep Singh, I think so. He is staying in Goa. I think they can go for him also because they are any day far better than Kamaljeet Singh positioning. I think so. It is my opinion.
Yeah, there is Arshdeep also who has his
Yeah,
uh,
Arshdeep, he's in FC Goa.
FC Goa.
he has a good days, and
He has
yeah,
some good days and he has some bad days
he has
also.
some bad days. Yeah, that's one thing that I always, even when you look at your national team keepers, Gurpreet has made some really high profile mistakes. So has this Amrinder. I think Purba last 2 years has been really, really consistent. But
Yes, yes, yes.
otherwise, everybody does make some mistakes. I think even Super Cup final, that was a like goalkeeping error, right? The goal,
Right, right,
if I
right,
remember
right.
correctly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for goalkeepers, I think it's a little difficult to find one consistent one in the market. Even Dheeraj,
Right, right.
so much hope we had on him. He's
Correct.
struggling to hold the place also at some point.
Correct. But East Bengal needs to
And
get the goalkeeping position cut down. Kumar, please.
one more thing, Sayan. Yeah, for you also, Sayan, Amarjit Singh career is successfully destroyed. From where he started in Under 17 World Cup as a captain, the performances is nowhere now. And the part is the coaches also takes place and the clubs also involved in that. He didn't get the chance after his Jamshedpur days. I think he gone to FC Goa and he gone to East Bengal. He didn't get the chances. He didn't get the players which is suited his style. What is your take on that, Sayan? And Sandeep, what is your take on that? Amarjit Singh Kayan.
Sandeep, you answer this first.
I don't think he was that good a player also when he was playing that well. But
But he's okay player.
he's an okay player. Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I think you look at some lot of the under 17 boys. How many of them have become like really good, right? Like a lot of people say Suresh. He's a limited player. He does well in what he has to do, but he is limited. Apuya is a fantastic player. The center back, shit, the name slips my mind. From Goa, he just went no. Uh,
Anwar Ali.
Anwar Ali, yes,
Mohan Bagan.
he's an excellent player. But
Yes.
otherwise, you're looking at it. Komal Tattal, we don't know where he is. Prabshugan, I don't was not the first. I mean, was not the first choice keeper going into that room, but he is the one who's actually done better. Mohammad Nawaz was also not the first choice keeper. He's, if you look at all three of them, Prabshugan is the one who has actually done quite well. I don't think Prabshugan ended up going also. In the
Yes.
end, that one random keeper came from Toronto and went straight back. Nobody knows what has happened to
Yes,
him
yes. He
before
was.
that.
I remember his name was Sunny. I think some. He was a
Yeah,
guy who came. I
He's,
think.
he's from
yeah.
US,
So
I
we
think he
don't
came
know,
from
man.
US.
How did he come and how did he go, man? Like, what is this? There's no, you can't even find him.
I'll just check tomorrow. I'll just check tomorrow.
That is
He was
AFF.
from Canada. He actually he came from
I
Canada.
I
Right, right.
remember Navas being super pissed about it. When we did a podcast, after the podcast, he was like not happy at all. He's like, "कहाँ से आया है?" What he's asking.
I forgot that guy's name. He was a tall guy. He was a very
Yeah,
tall
yeah,
guy. What? He was a very tall guy. He reminds me of Gurpreet Singh Sadhu when he came to first time in Kolkata. No,
yeah.
he was so the guy had so much of height, and everybody was saying that time that Bob Houghton that time praised him, and everybody was saying that this guy is the future of Indian football. So, so this is anything Kumar. Kumar, anything else?
And one more thing, see, I want to talk more. I have seen Argentina versus Australia match. I'm not talking
Mm.
about Argentina. I know the quality, but Australia is competing with Argentina. They are playing with toe to toe. They are matching the quality. See our position in Asia. You can think how they tear them, how they will tear us. The quality of Australia is increased drastically, and Japan is thrashing El Salvador and thrashing El Salvador. See, the quality of the players of Japan and Australia is now so much there. Nobody can compete in Asia. We are
South
so
Korea,
lucky to see.
South Korea
Yeah, but
thrashed
South
Qatar, no?
Korea, no, no, no. South Korea, I didn't think they trashed the Japan. I didn't
No,
think
no,
so.
no. Qatar.
Qatar.
Yeah. You are talking about
So
under 17 or what?
No, 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 not their national team recently at some point had no wait, yeah, under 17 team only. I think they played. I saw the
Yeah,
yes.
result
South
today.
Korea.
6-0.
Yeah, today's match. Yeah. South Korea and under thrashed 6-0 won Qatar.
Yeah,
Qatar got one and South Korea got six. And one
frightening.
more thing I want to ask regarding the ASEAN football. When I see the Thailand versus Thailand players, youth teams are very good. When you compare
Yes.
the passing quality, if you see the gameplay and all,
Hmm.
but when you see to the national team, they are not performing the well. What is your take on that? Thailand especially.
So Thailand, Vietnam is also a very good team now. So we will obviously play them in the under
Yeah,
17.
yeah.
It's going to be a tough
Yeah,
task.
but recently they're performing well because of that PVP Football Academy. They invested in youth. I know
Yeah,
somewhat about.
correct,
Uh,
correct. So they've been doing really well. They won the Asian Games, the last one. The under 23 teams and stuff like that. So they've been doing really well. But I do one of the reasons I think these teams don't go up the rankings is a lot of the games that they play are against each other. So they're not really going out and playing higher ranked teams as much because their Southeast Asian games, that Suzuki Cup comes in non-FIFA
yeah,
window.
yeah, yeah.
They play the Southeast Asian games, which is huge for them, under 23 tournament, but huge for them. Lot of these games that they play are not in FIFA windows, so they're probably not collecting any points for that. But they're keeping their culture very intact also. That these tournaments are very very important for them. But I would think in the near future, Vietnam is definitely going to climb up. Thailand maybe a little bit down, but still a very good team. The way they play, a very interesting style of football, a lot more comfortable on the ball than the Indians for sure. Uh, Even Malaysia, that whole Suzuki Cup was a massive, amazing to watch. Crowd
Boost.
was there, the passion was there. Ended up in a huge fight. The recent Southeast Asian Games ended up in a massive fight. And if you just want to see when we talk about culture, you go check the. It's an under 23 team, but the winners they went home and they had a parade. People were on the streets, open top bus, a huge happy celebration that they won an under 23 team tournament in Southeast Asian Games. That is culture. When you have a fan culture, you have love for that game. They will be obviously slowly start moving up, and that's something we can't really do anything. Somebody recently mentioned, how do we change India from a cricket country to a football country? I don't think that is possible. We can hopefully make it a cricket and football country, but at the moment, cricket is too far away for us to try and catch them.
Correct. Correct. Totally well. So Kumar, I'll go.
and
I'll go with Abhishek now.
well, last question. This is last question.
Please, Kumar.
And Uzbekistan also is performing well in CAF
Very well.
Nations.
Yes.
Shukramro, that Roma player, he's on loan, I think so.
Hmm.
Eldor.
Shukran, and Uzbekistan is a top side. We have seen that Al Nassr match, and I thought we are very far to reach the level.
Yeah.
Uh,
They recently played Kafa under 20 with
Yes.
their
no, no,
second team
CAF
because
Yes.
Nations League, I'm saying.
No, right
no, I
now, which
was
is going.
Yeah, which is going right
So
now.
yeah,
CAF
that's a
Nations League.
senior level, no?
that's a senior
CAF
level.
Nations
So I
League.
was talking
Yeah.
about the Kafa under 20, where
Uh-huh.
their main under 20 team was at the under 20 World
World
Cup,
Cup. Yes.
and their second under 20 team was beating I think Turkmenistan. They beat 6-7 or something.
Yes.
So that
6-0.
team, yeah, they have a very stacked young youth level. We keep thinking, okay, maybe we can beat them because 15, 20 years ago we beat them one time or something. We're like, these teams are okay. All these Turkmenistan players play our I League, which is second division. But those guys are much better.
But
Correct.
people are upset that we are losing a spot in AFC Champions League. But AFC Cup become much more tougher next year on us because they are introducing AFC Cup, AFC Conference League. It will be much
Yeah.
more tougher. People, what is your
We
take on
will
that?
best
People are
to play
thinking,
in a conference league only.
But
That's our level.
Kumar, I think those people doesn't care about Indian football as well. They don't even share their thoughts about Indian football. Correct me if I'm wrong somewhere.
but you will get all the top teams in the AFC Cup, like Saudi, Uzbekistan, Qatar, and same teams. And
We are
you will
only
be like,
facing Uzbekistan out of
you will,
this in our group league. Only Uzbekistan, nobody else, right? If I'm not mistaken. Uzbekistan, Syria, and Australia, and India. Correct?
I think Syria is the last team we can get the point. India get points. I think if you try our
Even
best effort,
Syria
what
is
is the
much tougher to get a point out of it. It's not
I
that
don't
easy
think
to
we
get
are
point
getting
out of
anything.
Syria as well.
Honestly, I don't think India is getting any point from any of those games. Honestly, I wish they win one game. I really do. But when I look at it, it's very difficult, man. Syria, we
Yesterday,
beat the Nehru Cup,
but
no,
but
2008.
yes, it's true. But yesterday I was talking to Martin, and Martin said me this that Shine, we have the best. You guys have the best chance against Syria because Syria is also Syrian football has somewhat declined in the recent past. If you see the Syria, the way they used to be, they have also gone a bit down. So a point again against Syria, I think is achievable if you play smartly. Then, so if we are not able to get a single point against Syria, then तो he got the match सैप का तो होगा.
Yeah,
Once I meet him day after
what
tomorrow.
is the one thing we have learned in the Intercontinental Cup? We
right?
can't score goals without Sunil Chitri in tough games. The first one, okay,
What is
fine,
your
you scored. Yeah,
Sayan?
we
What is your
can't.
take on East Bengal signing Rahim Ali now? After seeing that this
No, no,
beautiful chance and throwing them.
Kumar, I'm
Actually,
always been vocal that don't sign him with so much transfer fee. No point. माने मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है और हम खर्चा कर रहे हैं बेकार जगह
It's
पे.
better that the money, the transfer fee that they're going to give to Rahim Ali, they give to us. We can get a better player other than Rahim Ali from I League.
Yes,
yeah,
there are
I think
chances. We
I
can get
also
him.
agree. I think Rahim Ali is
Yes.
now
Rahim
it's reached
Ali
the point that we are just rating him because we rated him 4 years ago.
No, Sandeep
Correct.
and Sayan, if there is any striker instinct, you have to hit the target at least. If it is a goal or not a goal, that is not a matter. First of all, striker should hit the target. You should get into the goal. If the goalkeeper saves or not, that is another thing. He should hit the post. He's passing through Changte. I don't know why he's passing to Changte and all.
That is again a thing which we discuss because see देखो Igor साहब he says that the सबसे अच्छा हम लोग passing football खेलते हैं but what I have seen and I think you guys there you have also noticed our passing accuracy has dropped under his tenure. If you see the national team statistics, I think that is
Really,
everybody can
I
go.
can't
Yes.
imagine a situation where it dropped from Stephen's timer when you're just
So
aimlessly thumping ball forward. How is
सोचो
that?
सोचो सोचो फिर then that is the thing no that see we in what happens is that we generally compare ourselves no how we do in the continental stage. So this is the challenge that Igor will face now, how he pulls up something out of that game. I think that we beat Thailand last time 4-1. I think that was the best game India has played in continental showpiece.
That
I don't
is when
remember in
Ashik Kurinian was an absolute monster. We have
monster
not seen
monster
that Ashik since.
नहीं Oh, UAE वाला match तो I still remember how we lost that match. How we lost
Hmm.
that match, nobody was aware of it. So ठीक है Kumar, I'll take Abhishek. Abhishek is waiting for long. So Kumar, thank you.
Yeah.
Please join tomorrow. And
Thank you,
for
thank
before
you,
India's
Sandeep.
game
Thank you,
also we will.
Sayan.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you,
man.
thank you,
Nice
Thank you
speaking
for
to you.
it.
thank you. Abhishek,
Shivashakti
that
needed.
is
I
Okay.
agree with Akash P. Naik that Shivashakti should get a run out. I don't know why he was not getting a run out.
done. Ishan Pandita is better than Rahim
Yeah,
Ali. Okay, right.
I think
Vishwaridya
Birds.
says.
Any day.
I guess
Yeah,
we can clutch a draw against Syria. Thank you, Bishwarab Dotto, for your super chat. Thank you so much. There is another question. I think one of our members did. I think this question, once this question is taken, Sandeep, then we can go to Abhishek. Sandeep, do you really believe that East Bengal crowdfunding is a genuine effort to revitalize the club on a long-term basis?
I don't. I
Huh?
really don't. I am sitting far away and looking at it as an outsider and saying I really don't think so. They are just doing some random crap. But I'll ask you
Kudos to you,
because you
brother.
guys are a lot
Kudos to
more.
you. I mean, saying
You
the truth in front of national media, kudos to you. Salute, man. You know, you are
but you
sitting
guys
far
know
away
you
and
guys.
telling the utter truth in front of everybody. It's just a mimicry, getting a crowdfunding. It's just a mimicry, nothing else. What I feel personally.
But do
I
you think that
all
if
due
they had
respect.
said we will give you some share,
He
if
will
they
give
do.
you nothing. He will just. They only know how to fake people, nothing else.
No, I
Okay.
agree. It's an absolute shambles what they're doing.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you tell
Leaving this
me,
topic apart.
Sayan and you, both of you tell me, what do you think that move is? Because I can't see it anything other
Shahinda
than
has
this.
already told the 1,000 times. I think again Shahinda will repeat it again. Shahinda, please repeat it.
See, Sandeep, actually, what is the basically problem is that uh, we are run by people, no? I'm saying upfront. I say it upfront every day. पता नहीं कल क्या होगा, but I say it always upfront that we are we are running football by the people who don't know anything about modern football. That is the reality. We need to accept this. Who are living in a world when there was no ISL? Who are living in the world where we were the top spenders of the league? I still remember a time when Dempo used to make team in lesser budget than us and used to become the champion of IIT. There was a time. There's a huge long time for that. So problem is that if these peoples are to be believed and their way of crowdfunding, how they will utilize, I have a big doubt, bro. This is the way when I travel to other parts of the country and I see what other states are doing and what my club is doing. I think a supporter-based club like East Bengal is not properly dealt with properly. I think the officials are becoming a hindrance to East Bengal's progress. What I feel, and I say it upfront. I don't care what people say and what people will think. But as being a East Bengal loyalist, I would always say that with this type of people who are taking the game forward, I will not say about the investor Imami. They are doing a pretty decent job.
They're
Deobratoda
giving
and
that
these
money.
people, they are
You
giving them
can't do
much needed.
anything more.
Yes, they can. They are giving them money, and I think I one thing I would always say that if this remains so, days are not far that these officials have to leave their chairs, and then only we can go forward. Or else it will be very tough. It will be very tough. See, realities is something that people will not accept at first. But when we see a 4 year, 5 years gap, then people will try to realize what we are focusing now is a short term solution. See, crowdfunding is a very short term solution to problem. You get in some money, 6 crore, you can pay a transfer fee of Gill, then you can get 2 players from Indian team. That is a very short term solution. Where is your long term planning? Why a club like East Bengal need to beg to Kerala Blasters to get a player? You got my point, Sandeep.
No, I understand. I'm just listening.
ठीक है. I'll not because my club I
No,
always
no,
say
it's absolutely correct, right? At some point, you have to point fingers at the people sitting on the top and say, "What are you doing?" When you have
correct.
all the tools to make a super club, what are you doing? At some point, you have to say, "Oh, we fucked up." Sorry for the language, but at some point, you have to say, "We messed up." So, I
Correct.
think it's about time to say that.
It's a high time now. It's a high time.
Obviously, your question, please. Obviously, I think
Yeah.
Gautam is also joined, please.
Okay. So let's start with let's come back to Indian football. We have discussed more on European football and everything. Okay. So Sandeep, we know Indian coaches, okay? Indian coaches give clubs like Mohan Bagan and East Bengal their past glories, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
you say people like Amul Dotto, right? People like Subhash Bhomik, right? Subhash Bhomik gave East Bengal the greatest glory times ever seen by any East Bengal fan. Any East Bengal fan. Even you, even you have seen those days where we have won, back-to-back National League, although it was later named as I League.
Hmm.
Okay, then we own the ASEAN, right? So we are nowadays we think we are running behind foreign coaches, right? If I also take the example of world football, okay, where if you see Argentina getting the World Cup after 36 years with the help of
Argentina.
Lionel Scolari, who is an Argentine,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Didier Deschamps in France, the previous
yes,
World Cup winner. Yeah.
correct. So Why are we focusing? Because nowadays, because if you see Mohan Bagan, okay, their first national league they got through the hands of Amul Dattu, correct?
Hmm.
Okay, then they got their first I League through the hand of Sanjay Sen, correct?
Hmm.
And then came Kibu Vikuna. That is at a later stage. Okay, so why are we more focused on coaches outside of India rather than getting the coaches who are more capable than them, capable than the outside coaches, and giving them a chance to prove their worth to Indian football? Why are we not doing that? Why we are focusing on coaches from Spain, from other countries? We have our gem in Indian football as well, right? Our past fems. So why nowadays I can't somewhere down the line we are missing our grassroots. Okay, we are just taking out our grassroots and throwing them away like anything, as if they doesn't exist at all. Okay, so if we go back to the grassroots, work on the grassroots, get an Indian coach. Okay, we even we can get an Indian coach for our Indian team, because we all know what Igor Stimac has done for Indian team. Okay, I don't have to say it. With all due respect to him, I have due respect for him, but I don't think he has done any big thing for Indian football, which has changed Indian football a lot. Actually, the decline of Indian football came under Igor Stimac only. So, taking that into notation, why aren't we focusing on our Indian coaches? Nowadays, we have you know we have coaches, I mean, who can bring those past glories for India, or for bigger clubs. Like, I mean, I'm not going for clubs like Mumbai City, because they have come up in last 5 years. Okay, they didn't even exist before that. We didn't even know who was Mumbai City FC. Okay, so I'm not, with all due respect, I'm not bothered about them. I'm mainly bothered about the clubs who actually existed from the grassroots, like Mohan Bagan, like East Bengal, like Mohammedan, okay, who actually existed from the grassroots. So Indian coaches showed their magic during their time, and now we are running behind, coaches from outside of India and getting them out, and we are thinking that they will give us the glory, and we have failed miserably over here. So what your take on that?
So I've heard both things from the coaches. Some people saying Indian coaches should be trusted more. Others saying that it's a great learning opportunity, and a few others saying there is a thing that white people, we respect them just because they are white people. That's literally the words that I've heard people say, and I think there is a truth, right? Sanjay Sen won two I leagues with Mohan Bagan, right? And he won.
1-1.
I think he's won two, right?
No,
One, one.
2015.
Yeah.
One I League with Mohan
19.
Bagan.
One
2015.
where they beat Bangalore FC in the last match.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. So they won, but Sanjay Sen has won all the tournaments also in Indian
Correct.
football.
Correct.
So
Correct.
he's
Correct.
hugely successful coach who's gone to ISL as a second coach.
Yes.
Then so there you see the problems. Tangboy Singto for years he coached in Shillong, and then he went as an assistant coach. So there is that clear. Look at Clifford Miranda, who won the
Clifford
first
Miranda,
ever trophy.
biggest example. Even Khalid
Just
Jamil, what he did
Khalid
for
Jamil.
Northeast. Khalid
Yeah,
Jamil is
but
the
then
biggest
after that
example.
he had a horrible,
खालिद भाई का स्टोरी अभी नहीं,
experience.
बाद ऑफलाइन.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but there are examples. I think some coach had sent me the number of titles won by Indian coaches versus foreign coaches. I think Indian coaches are ahead overall if you
Ahead.
look at it for the
Exactly.
last 20 years.
Exactly.
Maybe now their foreign coaches are catching up because ISL is almost completely foreign coaches. But regardless of that, even when you had great coaches winning teams, Sanjay Sen was not like a no. He was a major reason why that ATK team was winning. He was a smart man. Pradyum Reddy was a huge reason why Bangalore FC started winning in the first year. Ashley was there, but the scouting and the player this thing was done
Was
by
done by
Pradyum.
Sanjay Sen.
Yeah, for ATK and Prad for Bengaluru FC.
Bangalore,
So
yes.
you have Indian coaches with the know-how and the smarts. Richard Hood is a good coach who had a stint. I heard from people in FC Goa rate Clifford Miranda very highly. They think he is a
Yes.
super, one of the best in the next generation. Samir Nayak is doing a good job in Dempo.
Ready,
You
bhai.
have Floyd Pinto, Bibiano, for example, who is doing quite well with the under 17, the youngsters.
Even Binu
Binu
George, the East Bengal under 17 team, the way he has built the team from the scratch. You have to respect this coaches, right? I mean
Yeah,
that is
he
what
won
my point. He
Santosh
was
Trophy also, right?
yes, yes, correct, correct. So
So
that
it's
is
not
my
that we
point.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
go
like
ahead,
we
please,
don't have the talented coach, but and I feel at some level Indian coaches understand the culture better, right? You know the
correct.
players. Like you read what is that the fellows? Uh, there was a book called Kickoff. It's about Indian football.
Sam
Uh,
Sundar Ghosh.
yes,
Yeah,
that book
Samsung the
or
question, correct.
yeah, that book or Novi Kapadia's books, you see
Yes.
how foreign food coaches come here. Take a while for them to understand what Diwali is and how how players don't
Novi
train on
said,
certain days.
I,
Yeah,
and the Diwali one story what Novi said once. And this was,
yeah.
I think,
So
this fact.
it's very important, right? For Indians, we already know. Okay, these things are important. Maybe Diwali is not very important in Kerala. So coaching in Kerala knows that okay, it's not a major thing, but Vishu is another thing that is important for them, or Onam is more important for them. So all those kind of nuances, they'll know how the what gets the players going. Language barrier is probably a lot lesser. They can speak maybe Hindi or a couple of languages. They'll be able to talk to them better. So there are a lot of reasons, and they'll cost less money also. So I think for a while there was a period when there was not enough coaches to get those jobs, and they put a certain limitation. Right, you need this much level of qualification to qualify for the ISL as a head coach. That basically kept everybody out of it. So now that is changing. Now you are having Ranadi's team got promoted in the in Manipur. They played some
Yes.
good
Yes, yes,
football. So we now have coaches, and Ranadi in East Bengal, he actually did well in the few games that he had with
Yes.
East Bengal as an assistant coach. And obviously, whatever happened, I'm sure you know what happened. He chose to walk away because I understand. Like, why
Hmm.
would last 3 4 games? Why would you sign a foreign coach? and he's in the
वो मैं वो मैं लाइव
quarantine.
में बोल नहीं पाऊंगा. लाइव में मैं नहीं
He's in
बता
the,
पाऊंगा. I
he's
can't
in
say that.
he's in quarantine.
Yes.
Season is going on. What are you
Uh,
thinking? There's no relegation. Why would you do that?
and people don't question these things. These are all some basics. These are some basics. These are
That's
some
how
basics
badly you're
things.
running your team, right? You're bringing him for the last 3 games. Renedy was doing fine. You could have let him
Yes.
finish the season. So
And
there is.
he could have got us made much more points than what Mario Rivera
I mean,
did
look,
last season.
Adil Khan played like a different player under him, honestly.
Yes. Ankit
So
Mukherjee. ये अंकित
yeah,
मुखर्जी को हम अभी गाली दे रहे हैं that he the Kumar was saying that he's gone to Chennai FC and you guys should celebrate now. But ठीक है, ठीक है नहीं खेल पा रहा था but under Renedy he was a different person. Man. With the
yeah.
all national team players, all national team players, all Indian national players, and the players are not up to that level also. Renedy bhai didn't have that great players in his team, but then also
He,
they were able to stop good teams.
he
And he
very
was
clearly told
Renedy
them,
bhai has
"You
one
do
thing.
what you
Huh.
can do. Okay, don't do
Yes.
more."
Uh, Reddy Bhai has. I like one thing about Reddy Bhai is very much is that he's very practical in his approach. He knows हम
Yeah,
लोग कितना कर सकते हैं. भाई उससे ज़्यादा नहीं कर सकता हम लोग. And that defines Reddy Singh for me. And
yeah.
I think he's
I
very
met him
smart.
when I went to Manipur. Then he was telling
Okay.
me, "What you can do, you do." That was the rule. Like you don't try to pass like 15 different ways and all. What clear the ball if that is all you're good at, or pass to the next guy who can take the ball on. Very simple, very clean, and energy. That's something that we saw suddenly. They played with a lot more intensity. Maybe the Indian coach is getting to him a little bit more, with the way that he's and Renedy walking in. This is Renedy Singh. He is
Hmm.
played for the national team, one of the great wingers or not winger, wide player, great free kick taker. So there is that respect also. Maybe that doesn't translate to all the coaches because some of them didn't have that career, but still,
Hmm.
Clifford, I'm sure he'll get the same. He was a
Yes.
big player in his time in that great Dempo team. So
Samir
yeah, I
Samir Bhai also. Samit bhai also.
Yeah,
Samit Naik.
Samir Naik, obviously one of the best defenders. Even Mahesh Gavli is coaching now.
Yes, yes.
So
He's
who knows whether he will feature in the in the near future.
and in under 23 Asian
Yeah,
Cup.
he said
What I'm hearing.
Venki.
Yesterday I was
Venki
talking
is
to
coaching.
I was asking Joydeep Da regarding it, Joydeep Basu,
Hmm.
that whom
Hmm.
you think that under 23 team coach should be. I think Igor is would not be the under 23 coach anymore for the AFC qualifiers, AFC championship, which is I think China is also in our group. So they are saying is an Indian coach is there in the radar. So, I mean, I was guessing who could be. So Mahesh Ravli, I think is a short-term solution. He
Good
can be
shot.
a
Yeah,
solution.
good shot. You see, Venki is
Hmm.
also there. No? Shanmugam Venkat is
Yes,
also there. He coached
yes,
Yeah.
Indian
yes.
Arrows and he's there and thereabouts. But they need to
Hmm.
get a chance to prove themselves. Like we were very happy when Khalid got it, but the second year did not go well. Maybe if he had done well second time, maybe that was a crack in the ceiling that people could just go through.
Yeah, Khalid bhai का भी अपना story है ना. He had a success with Aizol and all. No? Then he
Yeah,
went to
but Khalid
Northeast.
he needs everything to go through him. There is that huge, like in Mumbai FC, that team was there only because of Khalid, right? There was no other reason why that team should have stayed in I League as long as they did.
Yes,
Honestly, that
correct.
he got the maximum out of those players. Then he
Yes.
went to Aizawl, won the title. Spectacular. He came to East Bengal.
Northeast. Northeast. Northeast.
Before I came to East
Successful.
Bengal, no?
Yes, yes.
Whatever happened, happened. Then he went to Northeast as an assistant coach, took over at
No,
a tough time.
no,
Again,
then he went to Mohan Bagan after that Northeast.
yeah.
Ah.
So he had his ups and downs, but he does need a lot of control. And if you are a club that is able to provide him that kind of atmosphere, he will get the best out. The players will go and run through a big brick fall for him because he's that guy to the players. You talk to Ashutosh Mehta or Jayesh Rane or any of the players who he played under in Mumbai or in Aizawl, they'll say the same. Even Apuya,
तो
I
वो तो
think. You talk to him.
सबको थका देते हैं हम सुने हैं ट्रेनिंग में.
Yeah.
हाँ हाँ.
He
मेरा
very
पसीना छुटा दिया था एक बार मेरा. Actually, he's he's a very military. I think he reminds me of Syed Naeemuddin. I used to hear these stories from other journalists who used to cover those times. I think Jaideep Da was one of them, and he says there was an incident when the whole team actually backed off Naeemuddin in 2005, 4 or 5. There was an incident where Baichung Bhai was against. He was saying that we don't want to play with coach like him. With him, Naeemuddin sir was an Dronacharya Award winner. And he had this old way that we need to practice every day, practice. And I remember one story. I think I should say here, no issues. Ines Manju had this 104, 105 degrees. He
fever.
was having high fever. Then also the practice went on, and then after that the team backed off. So this is again a problem with Indian coaches are also like this. There are stories of Indian coaches that the players also somewhat there is some tuning issues with the for Indian coaches. Exceptions are there. Sukhvinder Singh, Subhash Bhomik, there are exceptions. But
Armando
what I've
Colasso.
seen, Armando Colasso, there are exceptions, but exceptions can't be the benchmark. No, there are
Yeah.
exceptions, but that is one thing. I think
But
before.
here is the question though. I always ask. Let's say Clifford. We'll take example of Clifford or Samir
Yes,
Naik or Renedy or whoever. They are coming in as an assistant coach. In the back of Lobera's mind, he knows that if I don't do well, this guy is going to get my job in a matter of
correct.
8 months, 10, 15 games in. If it's not going well, if I get the sack, this guy is the one who's going to steady the ship. So, how close are you going to be with him as opposed to your foreign assistant? Like, are you as close to the Indian assistant as you are with your foreign assistant that you've bought? But wouldn't the
Correct.
Indian assistant be actually more useful because he knows the Indian players better? Like, let's take Fowler for example. You must have heard stories. You're right.
फाउलर फाउलर का तो मतलब वो अलग ही सीन हो गया था.
So
He
you
took
know
on
these
with
stories.
players. No, he would have come in Kolkata and this would have happened. He was
Ah.
it was very good that he was in Goa. This kind of yeah, actually he was very lucky in that way. He was not in
Yeah,
Kolkata. But
yeah.
again, there was bashing by people that Fowler again. We when Fowler came in, I was very sure that his coaching pedigree was not up to that level. What we were thinking, we were just thinking about his Liverpool legend image was always behind our mind. Fowler as a coach was not so successful. If you see his stint
Hmm.
other places, he was not so successful as a coach. Same goes with Igor Stimac. He may
Yeah.
be a legend in Croatia, but as a coach, his tenure was 11 months prior to this. This is the highest tenure he has served यार. $30,000 भी आ रहा है और सही है भाई. It's a good job actually.
I will not partake in Igor bashing so much because I feel like he's been given a very tough job in the first place. And he played a lot of tough teams also. If you
बैसिंग
look
नहीं
at the
बैसिंग
friendlies,
परसों मैं मिलने भी वाला हूँ तो मैं बैसिंग मैं भी ज्यादा नहीं कर पाऊंगा.
yeah, yeah, he's have been given a tough job, tough task at a tough time. Played a lot of West Asian teams. Which whatever you say
हाँ,
about Constantine, he didn't play that level of friendly matches. Played
okay, okay,
mostly in Nepal and all of them only. So I'm going to give a little bit more deference to him. But his mandate obviously is not going to work, right? Indian football, you can't pass and play. Possession football is not going to work for the national team. We'll see when
I
we
think
go to
overall,
Asia that he'll sit back only. That's what he'll do.
yes, yes,
Hit,
it
counter
is
attack, hit if you can.
correct, correct, correct.
That's
Yes, yes.
that's that's our style. I think we should embrace it. I don't know why we want to be like this Spain. Why can't we just be this team who defends and counterattacks? What is so wrong with that? Italy won World Cups playing like that, and we were like, oh, what a great team. What is the difference? You play no defense and hit counterattack, win the game. I'm okay with it. Absolutely fine.
ठीक 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 है. So Sandeep, actually before we wrap up, I think there is something. So Quadrat, your expectation for East Bengal? Where do you see East Bengal this season with Cuadrat at his helm? You were the first one. You gave me that assurance last time when last time when we were discussing this, and you said me that it's good. Sergio Lovera didn't happen. You got a coach who is actually suitable for your team. I remember that, and that's
Yeah.
why I also after that I also got some hope. Yeah, Sandeep is saying, and you have seen him very closely. So some stories of Cuadrat on and off the field for the fans. People want to hear many of the Quadrat stories, but any story which stays with you?
Stories. Uh, let's see, stories. Let me think. But I would think that you would be a tough team to score against, and you will rely a lot on set pieces to get those goals. With players like Clayton Silva, you have the player. So most important thing in a set piece is delivery, right? And if you are a direct free kick taker, you have Clayton Silva, who's an excellent dead ball specialist also. So you have the
Bora
delivery
is
there.
also there. Bora
Yeah, but
Herrera.
it's also there. Yeah, so you have that part sorted. Now the rest is I still will hold how well they are going to be depending on the teams that you finally put together. Where the whole team is still not put together, so let's see if you can sign a few more players and what situation comes. But I will stand by, even if it goes as the worst ever season, I will still stand by the fact that Carles with what East Bengal is right now suits you much better than Lovera does. And we'll
Correct.
see how Lovera does in Odisha also, to see
हाँ,
how they
वो भी
play. And
स्कैनर में है. Lobera has become a villain in Kolkata now. He's
Lovera has
totally
caused so many problems. वो मुंबई गया, there is Goa versus Mumbai problem, and then उसके बाद now his Odisha versus East Bengal problem. It's caused quite a bit of rivalry in Indian football. ठीक है, अच्छा ही है. Like, some needle in the game is always nice. But
yes, yes.
yeah, so
So
Carles stories wise,
sorry.
he's he'll talk bindas. So he had come to India a long time ago. He used to model in his time,
Okay,
like,
ये पता नहीं
yeah,
था.
he was a model also. So
Oh, lovely.
he had come to India much before in Bombay for a photo shoot and stuff. So his association with India starts much before he came to Bengaluru in that way. And
Okay,
he coached Arda Turan in Galatasaray.
okay.
So
Yes.
his big dream at that time was to play for Barcelona. and the of course Roca, Rijkaard, and he were there, and he kept saying, "I want to play for Barcelona, Barcelona." Then he went to Atletico Madrid, no? And then he's
Okay.
like, apparently met him, and he's like, "This is direct opposite to the football that Barcelona plays, but I fit here." Then later, obviously, he did go to Barcelona, did play for them for a while, and then came back. Then there are also he's like this. What do you call? Once the camera is off or the recorder is off, he'll just have a chat with you, like whatever off the record. He doesn't have much problem telling you like, "Oh, this is happening or that is happening," or all those things. He used to drive a car in Bangalore in the early time. You had I think a Maruti Zen or a Swift or something. He used to just drive around, and go to his training and everything. And with Roca is a lot more stricter, lot more serious, and he is a lot more relaxed, and so that really worked for them. So the dynamic has to work, and as a head coach, responsibility is significantly different also. So we'll have to see how he is able to manage those things. But at the same time, his I think set pieces is essentially what is going to be a major thing for East Bengal, because they did the same during the Asian Cup run. I mean AFC Cup run. They did the same in the latter seasons where they were concentrating a lot on not just the set piece in itself, like things leading up to the set piece. If it is the first corner on the right side, they have one, and if it's the first corner on the left side, they have another one. But if it's a second corner that comes from the right side, it's a different one. They wouldn't use the first option. So there was all these things that is worked out extremely meticulously. So I'm looking forward to seeing that actually. All of these.
So
Unluckily, Arda Turan actually retired
Yeah,
from
he had a
international football. Or else
crazy.
Arda Turan would have featured for East Bengal, as per your word.
No, I don't think he's going to. But
I
yeah, he
don't know.
had some major issues, man. Like he had some court case and stuff towards the
Yes.
latter half of
No.
his career. It did not go very well for him. Yeah.
But
So
he was a
Sandeep,
brilliant dribbler of football, Arda Turan. Brilliant
yes,
dribbler,
Great player.
man.
yes, yes.
Brilliant.
Great, great. So, Sandeep, before we leave, before I think there's a last segment, which is the rapid fire. I'll just ask you a few questions. We are already 1 hour up. Sorry for the delay because there were many people who wanted to ask this question.
Uh,
So, let's plan once Cuadrat is here. We'll have a podcast, and I'll invite you also here. So we'll discuss
done.
many of the Bengaluru days and Kolkata days, and we'll just analyze the difference in Bengaluru and Kolkata. How is
Yeah.
this? It will be very interesting once he's here in Kolkata. So the last segment, the rapid fire, where we do with all the guests. Today you came for the first time, but I hope this would be not the last time, because we will be I expect that you to come in with some of the times when we always vouch for you, because we need people like you to come here and just share your moments about Indian football. So, first question I'll give you two options. You have to select one answer, and you have to say. So, first question to you would be Kerala Blasters or Bengaluru FC.
Gokulam Kerala FC.
No, no, ऐसा नहीं हो चलेगा भाई. it ऐसे तो क्या फिर तो
मैं
मजा ही
Calicut
चलेगा.
से हूँ
तो
यार. I am from Calicut. That's my technically my home team. The
नहीं
stadium
हमने
is
ये
like
दोनों
15 minutes from my house.
no, you have to tell me two names. These दोनों में बताओ यार.
Between
नहीं
Kerala
बताओ.
and Bangalore?
हाँ,
Bangalore, yeah.
okay.
Yes,
दोनों
I've
में
covered
each.
them from day one.
Okay,
The
okay.
first time they announced the team, I've covered them all the way from then. So yeah,
See, I
Bangalore.
think if Manjapada team is looking at this, they can have a look that why this guy from Kerala is supporting Bengaluru. so,
You
so
said
the
which
second,
I like more. Okay, I didn't say I did not like the other team or I like the other team. Within the question and answer.
the second question to you would be, uh, there will be. I'll give you three options here: Baishung Bhutia, Sunil Shetty, I am Vijayan. Who, according to you, is the best you have seen? According to you, is the best. According to you. अभी मत बोलना कुछ और फोर्थ कुछ नाम बता
So
के बोलना नहीं.
I am Vijayan's. I have not seen as much of I am Vijayan as I would have, because I was born in 1990. So
Okay.
I saw when I was very young, I saw quite a bit of him playing. But I think naturally, Vijayan is supreme. Like God given natural talent wise, I think he stands out over the others. I would put Vijayan, Chetri, and Baichung in that order in terms of natural talent. But I think Sunil Chetri is the best Indian player of the modern era because of two things. One, his rise coincided with the whole boom of social media and television and football matches being telecasted properly, right? I am Vijayan. Even now, you go to YouTube, you don't see many clips of him playing. We don't know where the archives are, all those things. But Chetri's will be historically recorded. His numbers that he's racked up is great. 100 caps, 100 goal, or I don't know how many ever goals he scored. 80
Mm.
something, is it? Yeah.
Yes.
So
86,
all those
86.
goals, yeah, all those goals. But the most important thing, the reason why I'll put Sunil Chetri on top is that Sunil Chetri, his best football came after 28. His best football came in his 30s, which is never the case with an Indian footballer in general or in footballers in general. You peak in your late 20s and you decline in your 30s. Sunil Chetri has changed his diet, he's changed his workout, he's changed everything to ensure that his best performance, that he can extend his career. And I think for that reason, he has to be the standard in terms of how you look after yourself to have a long career and a great career in your latter half of your tenure, generally speaking. For that reason, I would put Chetri number one. We know that I am Vijayan didn't really do a lot of this. He was a lot more natural talent and he didn't take care of himself that well. He will tell you that himself.
Yes.
But that's the skill level, the greatness of that player and of that era. But yeah, I would say naturally gifted, and being a Malayali, I can't put anybody on top of I am Vijayan as the footballer. But I think in terms of impact, I think it will be Sunil Chetri.
Okay. So my third question to you would be the best foreign coach of who have come in the Indian soil. Who is according to you the best foreign
In
coach?
ISL,
Not in Iceland, the Indian football as a whole. If you can take the national team also, you can take the ISL as a whole.
that's a tough question, no?
ये दो ऑप्शन दे दूं क्या? नेशनल टीम का अगर
Huh.
दे दूं पहले. Hmm?
Bob Houghton.
Bob Houghton. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
for
mean, I'm
the
talking about the modern era who I have seen. No?
हाँ ना ठीक है बॉब हाउटन मेरा
Bob
मैं
Houghton.
भी तो उससे ज्यादा पहले ज्यादा देखा नहीं
Huh.
सुखी बाजी से थोड़ा बातचीत
I've
होता
heard
रहता
stories
पर
about Suki, but I've not really see. I don't remember
very
seeing a lot.
very he has a very nice sense of humor, very nice sense of humor.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he
When
come
Kennedy
across
speaks very highly of him.
uh, he's really a genuine person and आपके साथ बात होगा ना he'll have a good एक घंटा दो घंटे का फोन में बात हो जाएगा. He's like that of a person. He's a very
Yeah.
nice human being in that ways. So एक सुखविंदर सिंह था और एक चीज आपको मेरे को I think I need to tell to you. Who do you think is the best foreign coaches you have seen in the club level? There you have seen the ISL and in the I League also you have seen. Who was the coach I think who stayed with your mind after he left?
It's a tough question. I think Manolo is probably up there. Uh,
Okay.
at least let's. I'm looking at ISL. I think Juan
ISL.
Fernando is an excellent coach, but maybe he needs to win more for us to say that because he is in a club that can win a lot, right? So
Yes.
as a coach, I think he's extremely good, very highly rated in a lot of places. Manolo is also up there. You know, I like Karim Bencharifa. He actually did quite well when he came here.
Yes.
Won leagues in Goa, did well in Kolkata. He didn't win, but Pune was quite a good team under him.
Hmm.
Uh, in terms of playing style and everything, Togisim Hoikip scored the most number of goals for an Indian striker playing
Hmm.
under him. So and a lot of
Correct.
that Danpal Ganesh and who was that? There was a wing back also. A lot of Subhashish all came through at
Subhash.
that time when he was sort of
The help.
so he's done quite a bit for Indian football. Doesn't get the credit he deserves.
No.
Generally speaking, Ben Sharifa is also up there. I am not talking about the person that he is or anything because people will have different opinions.
No,
But
that is different. I'm on the
yeah,
ground. On the ground.
on the ground, I think he has done quite well. And I
Yes,
can't
yes,
think of
correct.
many names off the top of my head. So these are the ones that popped in. I'm sure I'm missing some really good coaches. If you mention, I'm sure I'll think, oh, I
Yes.
should have probably named him
Okay,
as
okay.
the
No issue. No,
Ashley
no issue.
Westwood.
No issue.
But I think Ashley
Agreed.
Westwood's legacy is a little tainted since he left BFC. He
Yes.
has not been able to replicate that success
In
in
80K also, when he came to
in
80K, he
80K
used
in
this.
round glass. Even when he went to Panyang, it didn't work out as well.
Mhm.
But at least
Yes,
Ben
yes.
Sharifa, in that matter, he's gone to different places and done quite well with those teams. He made
Sandeep,
Odafa into a striker, right?
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
This Odafa would have.
Situation.
Is Odafa? This Odafa was rejected by Kolkata clubs once.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
Odafa was brought down by Mohun Bagan, which is paying such a amount of money.
yeah. So
See,
he was not a
that's a
striker at that time. He made him into a striker. So
correct,
he's done quite well. I think we forget Ben Sharifa's name often, at least in the
yes,
modern time. Okay, I'm not
modern,
talking to
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. So, Sandeep, another question to you: Praful Patel or Kolyan Chobe?
I don't have a choice in this.
नहीं नहीं फिर आंसर तो करो भाई ऐसा तो चॉइस
यार
बताओ
अभी
आप
क्या बोलूं यार, if I say one wrong word my accreditations are gone.
नहीं नहीं यहाँ पर मजा है उतना तो आदमी ये नहीं है बट योर जस्ट योर टेक आई वी आर नॉट
I
सेइंग
think
बैड
as
और
a in terms of interactions that I personally had, I think I've had much better interactions with Kalyan Sabi.
ओके
One-on-one conversations and things like that. I barely got to talk to Praful, if at all. And so in that way, Kalyan is a lot more accessible. That part, and we have to see. This is just 8 months, 9 months into his tenure. So let's give him one term, and then we'll see if actually something better happened, or we went backwards, or it was the same. So I wouldn't judge him right now.
सो कुछ
Obviously, you and I know that there are some problems in AFF, some letters and all going here
हाँ
and there.
हाँ
We know all
नहीं
that
नहीं
stuff
ठीक
is
है
happening.
हाँ नहीं ठीक
But
है वो तो हाँ
वो तो चलेगा, but at the same
हाँ
time, we'll give him the time because he has to undo a lot to do his bit. So
करेक्ट करेक्ट
let's see what he can do. But as a interview and stuff, I think I've had more interactions and better interactions with Kalle.
ओके सो इफ आई आस्क यू मॉडल द लास्ट क्वेश्चन आई विल नॉट टेक
यार
मच
तुम
ऑफ योर टाइम
बहुत
नाउ
difficult question पूछते हो यार, like all this, you're getting me into
फिर
trouble.
यार ट्रैवल में नहीं भाई एकदम इजी क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ मैं you see a model where Ranjit Bajaj is doing a model where he's getting in footballers from the youth and pumping in to his academy, and he has a dream. What I asked him also, 2034 India playing a World Cup, and he's contributing to that. He has this vision, and Ranedi Bhai on the other hand, he's also working on youth development and doing good work. Insane amount of work he's Ranedi Bhai is doing out of passion. So, if you consider both of them, which model you think is beneficial for Indian football in long run? Reddy Bhai's model or Ranjit Bhai's model?
Both are doing youth development, no?
Both.
So I think both are good only.
ठीक है
Like,
ठीक है
but what is the difference that you find between them?
नहीं मैं जो पॉइंट का बात कर रहा था बिकॉज सी यू हैव ही हैज दिस नो दैट एज वाला जो सीन था दैट्स
Ah,
व्हाई आई वांटेड टू हाईलाइट दैट
age
on a
fraud.
age fraud are you
Yeah.
do you think that needs to be checked at this I think this is a problem I asked many of the coaches they say this is all over the world but in India what is happening we are seeing under 17 player playing where originally under 23 player is playing in under
Correct.
17 team
Yeah.
this is the problem we are having and
Hmm.
people we don't say these things that is the biggest problem which we face in football so ठीक है thank you Sandeep for your time it was lovely chatting to you yeah I think all the people who have watched this and people who will watch it after the show is over tomorrow morning day after I think अभी भी 40 आदमी देख रहे हैं 12:30 बज गया आई थिंक चलता तो और भी देखते बट नो इश्यूज थैंक यू संदीप फॉर योर टाइम your take on Carl's Cuadrat, Indian football, East Bengal Mohun Bagan on a whole, and your insights about the technicalities of Indian football was really nice talking to you, Sandeep Bhai. And hope to host you very soon again once Carlos is here, and prior to that also we plan to make a program on before the ISL starts. So I hope that you will be joining us. So thank you, Sandeep Bhai, for your time,
Absolute
patience,
pleasure to
and
come here. I thought it was going to be 1 hour, but I have no problem that it's gone so over because it was nice, and I love the fact that you have so many people agreeing and disagreeing with me, which is absolutely fine, and
yes,
a
yes,
lot of people coming and talking also. It's wonderful, a great program, and
yes, yes.
yeah. I don't understand the language. Otherwise, I would have loved to watch all the shows. So, अगर तुम subtitles दे सकते हो तो I would love it.
I'll look into. But Sandeep bhai, one thing, Sandeep, I want to say, I'm saying in Bengali. I'll just translate to in English. Uh, তোমরা যারা এই স্ট্রিমিংটা দেখলে প্লিজ লাইক করে দিও, সাবস্ক্রাইব করো ইন্ডিয়ান ফুড এন্ড ফুটবলকে, অ্যান্ড সন্দীপ ভাইয়ের একটা চ্যানেল আছে, সেটাও আমি বলে দেবে, সন্দীপ ভাই বলবে। তো Sandeep, what I'm saying that to subscribe our channel Indian Food and Football and like this event, and please tell us about your channel so people from Kolkata who are really interested. Sandeep Bhai has done podcast with many legends of the game. I think Sandeep Bhai, I think dream होगा सबका, सुनील छेत्री का podcast सब देखने में पागल हो जाएगा कोलकाता में. So Sandeep, please, if you can say in English and I can translate them in Bengali, please.
Yes.
Your channels.
So my podcast is Injury Time. It's not just my podcast. We have 2-3 others also involved in it. But we try to do our best. But all of us are now sort of doing many things at the same time. So itna regularity sometimes doesn't come. But whenever we do, we try to be as honest as possible. We touch on some really shady topics also. Pull out some documents and things of that nature. We try to be as transparent as possible and not you know not just surface level. We do some in-depth stuff. We try to get coaches also and players etc for the podcast, which we have successfully done over the years. Hopefully we can continue this time onwards. We are planning some other things also. When as and when it happens, we'll let you know. It's Injury Time IND on Twitter, and I
Okay.
don't know if we have a Facebook that is still functioning, but Twitter to hai. So, yeah.
সো সন্দীপের যে চ্যানেলটা আছে ইনজুরি টাইম, তোমরা সাবস্ক্রাইব করো গিয়ে। আহ, খুব ভালো কন্টেন্ট বানায় সন্দীপ, অনেক দিন ধরে ইন্ডিয়ান ফুটবলকে ফলো করছে, অ্যান্ড মানে তোমরা যদি দেখো, আই থিঙ্ক দ্য মোর অ্যান্ড মোর উই গেইন নলেজ, যত আমরা নলেজ গেইন করতে পারবো এইসব প্রোগ্রাম দেখে, দ্যাট উইল বি বেটার ফর আস টু হ্যাভ আ বেটার আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং অফ দ্য গেম। সো সন্দীপ ভাই, থ্যাংক ইউ, and good night from our side to you. Good night to all who have watched this show, and we'll catch up tomorrow and day after tomorrow when I will be in Bhubaneswar covering the game. So all the best to the Indian national team, and tomorrow when Indian under 17 team plays, I think best of luck to Vivano and Vivano's team. We hope that they pull up a good result tomorrow against Vietnam. Game will be played at 5 p.m. 5:30 p.m. IST Indian Standard Time. So please do watch. The match would be streamed on Geo TV, what I know. So please watch the game tomorrow and support Team India. And day after tomorrow, watch Indian team play take on Lebanon in the Hero Intercontinental Cup final. So good night from my side. Take care. Bye, and we'll catch up tomorrow again. Bye.
Thank you.